actual live stream for real on YouTube. It is Lisa and Juliet here from the Cryptid Women's Society, and today we are ready to delve into the reptilians in Hollywood.
I'm just wearing my reptilian skin today.
Nice.
What do you think?
Nice. Oh my gosh. Goshy gosh.
You go blurring them back out.
Well, you're blurring. Yeah, that's because it doesn't like your mask, apparently. Take your mask off and then put it back on and let's see. Oh, it does. It just doesn't like that.
I'm making fun of the reptilians. It's not very welcomed.
Good Lord. Hey, today we have the most amazing guest who is waiting in the wings. We are going to get this guy in. It's Joe from Ancient Enigma Files. Let's get him in here right now. Let's open up the screen. Good sir, let's hope he can see us and he gets in here at some point very soon, because he doesn't know we've got our tinfoil hats on. Or maybe he does.
We can't see you, Joe. Where are you?
Put your
Hold on.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it's blurry. Look, it keeps blurring. It doesn't like the mask.
It knows. You should have gone for the tinfoil hat option. I thought you were going to dress up, Joe.
Guys, again, man, I wasn't. Nobody cued me in on the costume, man. I was totally thinking, right? I said to myself, I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna throw something on, but I was like, no, it's their first live. I don't want to get them kicked off or banned or something like that, right? And I just want to ease into it, man. But I knew I forgot my audience, man. I knew you two characters were gonna come in hot, man, for sure.
Pretty good. I like this. I tell you what, we've been joking about this for a really long time. We were like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We thought about getting those giant T-Rex heads to put on, and we just wear those throughout the show, but we ended up.
It doesn't seem to like the mask. Look, as soon as I put the mask on, it goes blurry. It's like, no.
See, you're thinking like a normal person. That's the YouTube lizards blurring you out because they think your mask is coming through. That's all they're doing. They're hiding you. They want you to think that. That's what it is. And you got your tinfoil hat on too. I got a rocking Captain Jack Sparrow tinfoil hat. I didn't bring it out though. So next time.
Actually got mine's got like four little got like.
It's giving off like Lord of the Ring vibes of the elves, with the.
I like.
Just to stop the radiation. I don't want that sneaking in.
That's it.
How are you?
We're talking
Gosh,
some
we
deep
haven't
shit
seen
today.
you for a long time. How are you, matey?
Congratulations. Welcome to the YouTube madness. I was just thinking about you guys. Again, I got something cooking next month. I was going to send an email out in a week or so. And I'm good. I'm doing really good. I'm almost done with my shadow ban on Instagram. So that's good. But other than that, getting too close to the truth. So, but it's all good. Thanks for having me.
That's why you need a dungeon like we've got, so we can, speak the truth and not say and bad words.
Yeah.
We're not.
I'm thinking about that. Somebody made a good point that I should at least back up my work. Is what I was told, man. Back up my body of work. I do keep everything on this is the nerd in me, but I do keep everything on an external hard drive unplugged. You know what I'm saying? So like in a cold.
Yeah, we have to. You have to, because quite seriously, like we found out the other day, right, Jules? Oh, all of a sudden my Google Drive is no longer accessible.
Oh yeah, I never
lost all of her work. Yeah. So yeah. Safety first when you're in our space.
Maybe we need to put a tinfoil over the computer, over our phones. Little tinfoil hats, we'll sell them.
What we do is not for the week, I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness. Hey, how's life going? You sound very, very busy. Like we have been friends for a long time now, a fair few years.
You guys, so it's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some shout outs as we go here, right? Something I dawned on the other day when I was making my notes. So yeah, but I have been, let's say, a lot of things are cooking in the background that I didn't think would ever start cooking, and that some things are taking place here. I don't want to I don't want to talk about anything right now, but you two will be the first to know. I promise you on this, right? There's some things go through, but I have been extremely busy, and I have messed around and became popular. So yeah, so I don't know how that happened. Hey, look, to all you people, you knew who I was.
It's the conspiracy side of it, and it's just like,
yeah. So it's funny. I had a conversation literally. I literally had a conversation about you two specifically.
Oh.
4 days ago, right? 4 days ago, I was talking to somebody. They had reached out to me. It's like, hey, look, I'm looking to get into like this, podcasting, this game or whatever. I'm looking to get into it. And they were like, hey man, you got any tips? And I'm like, are you talking to me, bro? I said, tips. Obviously, man, you ain't never checked out. Go watch episode 4. You know what I'm saying? Like you watch, yeah, tips. Nah, so but I did tell him, I said, hey, look, man, I said, there was a time, man, where I was, I decided I wanted to get into it. And I went online and I was reading all this stuff, and I was, all these, never watch a YouTube video about anything they want to do, right? It's like, so like, do this, do that, do this. And I literally said, one day I was on Instagram and I saw these 2 chicks. That's how I talked to you guys. And they were talking about a yowie or something like that. And I'm like, hey, y'all want to come on my show? And they said yes. And that is literally how it started. Literally. That's how it started. It is. I said, me and my cousin, you can go watch my first like 4 or 5, 6 episodes, and it's me and my cousin goofing around. But I was like, the first people I invited on my show was Lisa and Juliet. And because we were in a different countries, I had Scott from
different time zones.
Exactly right. I had Scott from Mysterious Planet come on first, but these were my first 2, and I just winged it. That's what I told him. And then after that, man, I was like, yeah, there is no magic sauce, man. Just go in there.
And then you got sucked into it. I got sucked deeper and deeper into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Joe, like your show was our first as well.
Yeah.
Right? And we came on and we did the Kelly Cahill story.
Yeah.
And we were like so nervous. We're like, just be professional and don't be shit. Like really, really important. Like that was our top 2. Just professionalism and don't be too shit.
Yeah. So go back and watch that. I even dressed up and put on cologne. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. I'm not joking. No, look what I was wearing. I put on some cologne. Just out of habit. Like that's just how it was. And then now it just kind of like evolved into this thing. And then now I feel blessed, man. I got a lot of people wanting to work with me. And again, like I said, I got some things cooking, and I'm going to put some forward here. I'm just working out some details, some other side stuff, clearing the way. And again, like I said, you guys were going to get an email literally in 2 weeks. I'm not lying. It's still going to happen. So
awesome. We would love that. Anytime we get to collab with you, Lady Katie.
It's going to be like a celebration thing, man. But it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward. So don't say no. All right.
No, we're too good for you. And honestly, for any of you, Joe should really do a Patreon for the pre-show when we come on, because that's where most of the fun is.
Right.
And we can't actually put that on YouTube.
And what I'm going to start doing too is that I'm going to start cutting clips, and I'm going to do at the end of the year around New Year's Eve. I'm going to throw up the clips of all the stuff that I get wrong, because you know how I do those 1 minute, like, hey, Nate might check this out. Yeah. Before we get to the topic, I'll share this one little thing for you, for people watching this, on how to get into it. The first time I made one of those, I'm literally said something like, I clicked it on, I'm in the camera, and I was like, hey, Enigma, there's a jelly bean up my butt. Like, there's something that's like, oh, this random. I don't know why the words. So yeah, I was like, where'd that come from? I had to breathe, come back down. I was sweating, and it was just me in front of a camera. I'm sweating. I even got a little towel over here. I'm sweating like that right now.
It's freaking nerve-wracking. wracking. It
It
is
is.
nerve wracking. And we are trained actors, right? We've been on screen numerous times, like thousands of times. And we sit here going,
Yeah.
And you retake it, you redo it, you're like, oh my God, yeah. Like I still struggle with it. Lisa's a little bit more relaxed. You'll just get on there like blah 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 blah. I'm just like, no.
Here's another one for us too. I sent you guys a reel of something flying around the sky, right? And I tagged you guys. It was literally somewhere down your way. And then Lisa takes it and she does like this flawless, like stitch timing.
Oh yeah, I know. I hate it.
And I was like, oh man, I suck. I don't know how to do this. I said, man, I need to step my game on that. It was like, please be a sky dragon. Please be a sky dragon. That's what she said. I was like, oh. So the timing was flawless, right? So yeah. So So I'm glad you have me on here, guys. I have the best fun. I have the best fun.
Do certain things, Joe, you know, and we're just stoked that we get to hang out in your space every so often.
Yeah, for sure. I love having you guys. Yeah,
it's real special, and we're just stoked. Like you're so successful in what you've been doing, and you're obviously interacting with some amazing people that really rate you very, very highly. And we rate you super highly. And we're just so privileged to have your time on the show today. And today we get to talk about reptilians in Hollywood.
Yep, that's right.
Safety first.
The reptilians.
We know that you know a ridiculous amount about this. We've got little bits and pieces that we want to add to the conversation, but realistically speaking, the floor is yours. We will just add in stupid tidbits of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
It's such a huge topic, right? It's massive.
It's gotten crazy legs.
Yeah, for real. So why don't you tell us your craziest theory about reptilians in Hollywood? What's your craziest theory, or the one thing that you go, man, that's whacked?
So I am like literally 90% certain about what I'm going to tell you guys is like absolutely the truth, right? And I'm very, very serious. I didn't start this channel to like get into this whole this thing came to me, right?
Sure.
And the thing that I absolutely, and I'm going to bring you the receipts on this too. The craziest thing that I absolutely believe about Hollywood and the reptilian situation is that every single person in Hollywood is either one, or the person that is there that's not one is somehow enslaved to them. For example, like the Kardashians.
Yeah.
And I'm about to tell you that this is not something new. This is not something necessarily. I've discovered some things on my own that I don't know if a lot of that I'll go over here, but I'm gonna be quoting research on here that's over 120 years old, and I've barely scratched the surface. Really, I really have, right? Like, it's not something I dedicate. I've got so many videos stashed in my archives that I could post. I'm not lying. For like 3 weeks, I could do nothing but reptilian videos, right? But every time I put too many in a row, my metrics tell me that I go from, I go from here, and then I'm down here, and then it slowly starts to let me back out of the basement again, right? But that's my thing. And the recent thing too is that the reason why this is coming to light right now is, and I don't know exactly, again, if you watch my channel, a lot of people tell me that one of the reasons why they like my stuff is because I don't claim to have all the answers. I literally say I don't know why, but I will know that there's a thing going on right now where you'll notice people are pointing out a lot of, I don't like calling them celebrities, but people in high profile situations, their hands are doing some weird things. And those aren't Ozempic hands. I know they like to take that Ozempic, right? But you're also noticing their face. Someone sent me a picture of Kelly Osbourne. I don't know if you've seen her lately.
I've seen the latest ones.
You've seen, good Lord. She was a 5'4" fatty is what I used to call her, man, about 200 pounds. She looks like she's about 5'9", and she looks like she is a straight up slender man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And it's not the fingernails either. Fingernails don't have anything to do with your joints in your back right here. And yes, this is actually your thumb joint, people, right here on the back. That's a joint, right? Their hands legitimately are elongating for some, and it's not just her. There's several ones that's going on, right?
Yeah.
She
And I
looks
don't
totally different. That's
completely
not her.
different.
I've
Yeah,
got
completely different.
photos of like Khloe Kardashian's hands of what they used to be like
Yeah.
and what they're like now, and they almost look not demonic but witch-like.
Oh my
That's
Yeah, yeah.
the kind of thing that you get. It's like these long, like bony fingers, and it is insane. Yeah.
Are you trying to tell me, hold on, are you trying to tell me that this right here is Kelly Osbourne?
She'll scare
Tell
you.
me that that's Kelly Osbourne.
There's one worse than that. There's one.
That
There's
is
one.
not
There's one.
Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah. There's one worse than that. The most recent one I saw, she looks like Cruvilla Duvel, like the girl that was trying to kill those Dalmatians. That's what she looks like. Yeah, there she is. That's exactly what she looks like.
It's like
She
their
looks worse than
faces, even their face shape is changing. Their lips are changing. They're all turning into the Kardashians, as they say. Even Matt Rife, the comedian, look at what he's done to himself. He's the same. You're just like, that is insane.
That is not even her.
Yeah, no, and so that's the most recent one that came my way. But there is something happening on the earth, and I had a really good guest on my show 2 weeks ago. His name is Dr. Adele. He has almost 1 million subscribers on TikTok, and he and I were talking about the Bible and things of that nature. And if you go back, there's biblical references to these creatures in the Bible. And my theory that's getting me a lot of trouble with Christians, and I'm a Christian myself, is that the talking reptile in the garden was not a snake. It was one of these things.
Reptilians.
I'll stick to it on 100%. I will stick to those guns on that, right?
Yeah.
And when you go in there and you pull up Satan, Satan is only mentioned twice in the Bible. And the second time he's mentioned, he's the old serpent, the dragon of old, the dragon. And then if you go and look at some of the apocryphs on this book over my shoulder here, Satan took on the form of a full-blown dragon when he fought Michael, right? Satan lost an eye in that battle. That's why they cover their eye as homage to the one eye. Horus, Odin, the one eye as well, right? Gave up his eye to gain wisdom. There's so many other, references to go in there. But there's also another thing in there that's very particular, is that they go out of their way to take dragons completely out of the history of all history books, right? Completely. Oh, they're mythical. They were the dinosaurs, right? And there were so many of them, they died all over the earth, that we can drill their black blood and fuel everything on the planet for the rest of their lives, right? It's all lies. It's all total lies, right? But that is a theory that I can totally give receipts of other people's work and dates and times, news articles, and research papers, right? And I can also back up the conspiracies that are in effect today to keep you from going and looking at it exactly. And that's all for tonight, everybody. We're out.
Honestly, like, one of the sides that I've been looking into has to do with basically, how they're talking about the return of the Messiah or Muhammad or Jesus and all this kind of stuff. And it basically, all this kind of their returning doesn't originally come from the Bibles and from the Quran and stuff. It comes from what they call the sky people. That's where it's come from. So it's not the return of Jesus. We're probably going to really upset people, or the Messiah, Muhammad. It's the return of the sky people. Yes. So it's like this real kind of, this real argument that's been going on that I've been watching, and, and they're talking about this has nothing to do with the Bible or the Quran. It's just like literally this is the return of them,
you're dead on. So what you have, again, this is good because this crosses all genres, right? I'm not as well versed on the Aboriginal cultures. I know enough to not be insulting, but that's not really my backyard, right? But like I can speak in depth about Native Americans in North America, First Nations people in North America as well. So what you have is you have the Jews. They're basically, the Old Testament is just the Torah. It's like the first 5 books. There's never a mention. The Jews don't believe in heaven. They don't believe in hell. And they don't believe that their Messiah has even showed up. So they don't talk about a return. Now, what you have is you have the Muslims in the Quran. They talk about the Mahdi showing up. They think the Mahdi is Jesus.
Yeah.
The Muslims say that Jesus didn't die on the cross. He came off the cross, killed everybody, left. He will come back, and Jesus will be the savior for them and lead them to, conquer the earth.
Yeah.
Then you go to the Christian Bible. Jesus came, left, coming back down. Then you go into the basically the story of the Anunnaki and the return of them that are in the Sumerian tablets. It's basically the story of the book of Enoch over my shoulder, which was the second chapter in the Bible, where they're talking about is like the fallen came down, or it was these sky gods that came down to do all that, right? But they all talk about this return. That's where you get into the return sections when you get later on down there as to go into it. But the Bible also too speaks heavily about, if you go and read it now with new eyes, it talks about in the book of Revelations, it will say those on the earth, in the earth, and those who live in the sea. And I was at the congressional hearings for the UFO, UAP, all that stuff. They came out and said, yeah, there's ETs live in the ocean. ETs, demons, angels, extra dimensional, whatever. I just prefer the term, not us humanoids here, not us, right? And so, and when you go into the Native American legends, the Hopi origin story says they were brought out of a cave in the Grand Canyon by these reptilians that could take on human form, and they call them the ant people. They don't call them the ant people because they look like ants. They call them the ant people because they live inside the earth like ants do in a cave. I've had people literally send me drone footage of this cave. Joe Rogan's talked about this. You can't go there. If you go there, you will get Black Hawked real quickly. Black Hawks will show up. You can go on YouTube and look at this. And I did a podcast on this, like episode 30. But they also went in there and they put cast iron on all of these cave mouths in certain places of the Grand Canyon. And they'll say it's because it's your safety. That's a lie. If that was the case, they wouldn't let you get close to the edge and fall a bazillion miles into the ocean, right? And they wouldn't use black cast iron. But if you get, and this is where it takes if you go and look what that metal is supposed to do to demons, it burns them when they touch it, right?
And protects you. It's all through, that's what your horseshoes were made out of. That's people putting giant iron nails in their doors. Yeah.
So call them demons, call them whatever's down there can't touch those bars, right? Yeah. And so that's what I think. I don't think these things ever left. I actually think something showed up. They were already here, and it said, well, now you're not the top of the food chain. These are my new toys. You're not allowed to mess with them. And I have African stories that I can back this up as well on that lore and that legend to get on it as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go back from, King James Bible, the Torah, that sort of stuff, then you go down to the Ethiopian Bible, right? Which predates
600 years.
By 600 years. Yeah, there you go. Like a good few hundred years is what I was going to say. So 600 to be precise. And it speaks very, very clearly on Leviathan, on reptilian lizard people or entities within that space. But nobody wants to listen to the Ethiopian Bible as the idea that these African people, these dark skinned people had this before white people did.
Yeah. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know about Australia, but the reason why they don't do that is because if they did that in America, they couldn't attack it. In America, they want to say it's a white religion so they can attack it. But then everybody said, no, it's actually a African religion. And that's why they've stopped. They're actually about to pass bills saying that you're not allowed to. Yeah, in America, there's legislation working through anti-Christian defamation act they're coming through because people are saying, no, it's actually a 600-year-old Ethiopian religion that King Solomon's son took out of there when he went down. And also, too, the Ethiopians were the first country. You can, again, get in the comments, everybody. I love to embarrass people. They were the first country to 100% adopt Christianity. The whole entire country did. And there's a story in the Bible about, I can't remember one of them, I think it was Peter or Paul, baptized an Ethiopian eunuch. And he went back and immediately that whole country was the first Christian nation on the planet was Ethiopia. right?
Yeah, well,
So,
I watched a video the other day of an Ethiopian guy talking about the fact that they were Christians before the
yeah,
colonizers came
yep,
over. They
yeah,
thought, the white people all like, well, yeah, we're doing a great thing, and we're changing them all into Christianity and introducing
yeah.
God to them. They were already there. They were like, what are
They
you
were
talking?
done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were done.
You take it
Yeah.
all from.
No, it's crazy. And what Sierra Leone, where they found all the reptilian statues and stuff
Yes.
with the blue stones, which they still to this day cannot positively identify, because that's what
Yes.
they, back in their history, they were saying, these blue stones came down. They thought it was the sky falling down, and it's only found in this one area. I think, was it in 1991 or something like that, where they this research finally found them. He was out there digging for gold or diamonds, whatever it was, and they found all these stones, brought them back, and there's been 12 or 13 top kind of investigations done on them, research and tests and everything, and they cannot come up with basically, there's conflicting stuff, but nobody actually knows what these stones are.
Yeah, no, nobody knows. Yeah, and again, and people point that out, and they're like, that's interesting, but I actually say that's progress, because they're, at least now, people are admitting, like, okay, we don't know what this is. If this would have happened, if this would have happened in Egypt, and again, I go hard on the Egyptians because y'all think y'all
and there's lots
built everything
going on over there.
so they would say, oh no, our people made that and we used it to heal babies of cholera, or it'd be something weird like that, right? And they would just make it in there, right? But now they're actually coming out and they're saying that, and that they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
The only thing that they've found out is that it's like the different kind of high traces of organic material, which is not from here. It's not like, it should be a lot heavier than what it is. Apparently it's really, really light, and it's, so it was just, it was really interesting, kind of,
I have a theory on what I think they are.
Oh,
and it's just
I've delved super deep into it. I don't need to go into my kind of research around it, but tell me what your theory is, because I've been listening to this stuff for ages. Like,
I think they're petrified eggs of whatever those creatures come out of. That's what I think they are. I think they're petrified egg, only because of the organic material they found in there. And again, that's just me just having fun with it. I have no idea. Right? So it could have been something the kids played games with back then. I have no idea, right? But it makes me sound cooler when I say, I think it's petrified eggs from the females. Right?
That's what we're here for.
From the females. That's obviously from the females.
Then what do you think about, okay, we're going off topic a little bit, but what do you then think about the Nazca mummies, right? They are said to have eggs inside of them once they've done a couple of x-rays and that sort of stuff. So what are your thoughts on the Nazca mummies? Only because I've just been doing some research on those. You know what we're talking about? Those little actually, they found like something like 27 of them or something. Crazy.
I actually don't think they're ETs. I think only because of the research I've done with the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants on how the fallen angels came down and created basically the Fae, the entire, everything we've ever seen. I think they were probably something like that. I think they were definitely organic, leftover, just some type of small fairy stuff. Somebody sent me a picture of a fairy the other day, right? Like literally a fairy. Yeah. I'm like, I'm still running it through the AI to make sure it's legit or now, but it looks pretty cool, right? Like looks like Tinkerbell. So that's why I'm like, man, that's kind of too perfect. But anyways, but yeah, so I think it's something like that. That's just me.
Right. Hey, Joe, have you heard about reptilians in the South Pacific?
No. No.
Yeah, so neither have I, right? Until I found this article, and I'll read it to you real quick, eh? Right. So do you know there's a cave system in Vietnam? There's a huge cave. Just tell me if I freeze, because I've gone into another website. There's a huge cave there called the Hang Sang Dong Cave. And it's that massive cave that basically has like rainforest on the inside of it. It's absolutely huge, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Do you know about this one?
I know about the cave. I didn't know. I just thought it was a cool thing.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah. So let me
It's literally got its own ecosystem within it, and it's like in the middle of a forest, and these just trees that are growing nowhere else. So
it's mental, right? So the Hang Sang Dong, it translates to mountain river cave, literally ecosystem within the grotto of this cave in Vietnam, right? It was discovered accidentally by a local man in the 1990s while he was visiting the jungles in central Vietnam. It's so massive that it's at least 6.5 kilometers long. An entire New York City block can fit inside it. It's huge, right? Absolutely phenomenal. But the thing that really got me was the stories from the locals, and then the stories from the US government or the military boys that were over there in the American War, aka Vietnam War, right? So basically the thing that they kind of discovered was in 1994, the river that goes through the cave basically sinks into an enclosed valley with no way to get out, right? But there must be a way of getting out. There was no way that they could figure out that this water goes anywhere. So I was kind of like, okay, then well, where does all the water go? There must be caving systems, right? And Juliet and I were talking about scary caving encounters, and she can tell you about her story later. But then it kind of got me onto the idea that, reptilians living in caves and this sort of stuff. So the legend goes that this 3 million-year-old subterranean realm basically has local residents on edge, and they simply will not go to the cave at all because they believe that something dwells within it. So the locals described seeing reptilian type humanoid beings emerging from the cave, and they believe that they actually live deep inside this cave. It says, interestingly, these reptilian type humanoid beings are similar to the seraphim or a winged serpent. The seraphim is also said to have gone and lived into inner earth, and underground world would be, rumored to exist by the US soldiers. So the story that goes with the US soldiers was basically they stumbled upon, I'm just going to come back to my page here. They stumbled upon this cave before it was kind of tourist and found back in the 1990s. So when they were there for the Vietnam War, they essentially were like kind of walking around the jungle, unaware that this cave was behind them. And then all of a sudden they saw this reptilian being standing out the front of this cave. And so they opened fire on it, right? They were just like, oh shit, turn around, open fire on this thing because they, were in the middle of open fire on it. And then went, okay, cool, let's go and get it. No blood, no body, no anything, disappeared. Yeah, disappeared. And they apparently, the story goes that these soldiers went and reported it, and they were told, don't report it, nothing happened, you didn't see anything, right? There's tourists now from like 2013. I think the cave was open to tourism. We went there, and I was going to take my son into that cave, but you have to be 18 plus because it's quite treacherous and dangerous with the water coming through, and it kills people quite easily. But more importantly, there are many tourists who have simply disappeared in that cave. But also there are sightings and encounters of these beings taking people. And so there's a whole heap of, like threads and that sort of stuff of, my friend got taken, whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that did my head in, because I was like, no way, that's in our backyard.
Yeah, that's
All I thought I had was Antarctica, but it turns out I've got Vietnam too.
Yeah, no, that's I've never heard that before, but like I tell you, the stories that people have told me, and every single ancient society I've told you, we've talked about this, has a word for a shape-shifting reptilian. The Nagas in India, they were the biggest. They used to worship them, right? They lived in caves as well. They're in Peru. The Japanese have them.
Yeah, was it the Nomale?
Yeah,
that's the
something
Sierra
like that.
Leone, the Nomale. Yeah, just
Nomale. They call them the Chitari in Africa, and so yeah. I mean, like they're all over. Those sightings are like all over. I mean, those legends or whatever. Pick your poison on that. Are all over the place. But that right there, I've had people reach out to me saying, "Hey, look, my dad saw this, my dad saw that about these reptilians, right?
Sure.
You want to come on the show?" Sure. I set it up. And right about the time, it's like, "Oh, my dad doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't want to talk about it." Yeah, no worries. So like I've had at least 4 people reach out to me and say, "Hey, look, I got a story for you. You want me to?" I'm like, "Yeah, do you want to come on? I'll block your face out. We can just do a little black screen or whatever." But no, that's not like that's not wow, that is amazing. I'm at a loss for words on that, right? That is I'm trying not to say I don't want to say that's cool.
Yeah, even the Aboriginal stuff is, it's the serpent.
Yeah.
And right back to who made the Dreamtime stuff. It was the serpent.
Rainbow serpent.
The rainbow serpent. Yeah. So
and when you go into I'm actually trying to verify the timeline. I'm working on this side project, right? I do a lot of things, that's why it comes up. But in the Bible, there's a story where God stopped the sun in the sky. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, right? Mm-hmm. And when I think it was the Israelites, or they were killing the Canaanites or something like that, right? So God froze the sun in the sky for an entire day. Mm. I think that's the exact same time they started mass sacrificing people in South America, because they talk about a time where the sun didn't show its face. And in order for the sun to show its face, they started murdering people. And I think there's those 2 timelines are in existence, but they were murdering those people or sacrificing those people to Quetzalcoatl, which was the winged serpent that you can actually see going down there, right? And so, not to turn this into a PG-13 thing, yeah, but like that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, I hate that happened. You know what I'm saying? I hate people getting murked in those caves, right? But like from a research standpoint,
but interesting that your reference to Quetzalcoatl is basically what they saw. They were referencing, saying it had wings of some sort. It wasn't what we would see in Hollywood as a reptilian per se. It was a winged serpent humanoid.
And it was too, because again, I sometimes I can be a little troll, right? And I do it for fun, right? I like to poke people. So people throw at me like, some people have told me that there's a hierarchy to these things, and the higher ranking ones have wings and are taller than the normal ones they interact with. But I've never seen one. I can't go to the library and check out the Draco book and go in there and like, hey, look, here's what they look like. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So this is what I'm being told. But my defense is that it's coming from around everybody know where they're at in the planet. Well, they'll tell you the same generalized thing. It's not like it's one group of people that are in there talking about it. Right? So
it's that. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's almost like people are so aware of it now, so they're looking for it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, I mean, you can watch video after video of people talking on television and changing celebrities,
massive
changing. Katy Perry, like the latest one, the concert the other day or something, with her eye glitched, and she's just standing there, her eye kept shut, and she literally touched the side of her head and it opened up, and she touched the side of her head and it opened up again. It's like, but she's had a lot of glitches, that one. They really need to reboot her, I think.
That clone's ready to be scrapped right there.
They need a new one.
but you're dead on. You're very accurate what you're talking about. And in fact, like, what really got me into this is when I was making fun of Adele with you guys. That's literally the first one that ever came into me. Was I was picking at Adele, right? And she was in New Zealand. And again, you guys back me up. Like, Lisa is from New Zealand. And I said, hey, look at this article. And she went out and found it.
I found the Justin
Bieber as well. Yeah, same thing.
Wasn't that New Zealand, or was that here in Australia?
Australia.
That was in Australia. He changed. Yeah. And people are still talking about it. They're still wigging out over it and stuff. And people's cameras were taken and phones were taken and things were scrubbed. And it was it's like they keep coming down here because they're like, nobody's going to take any notice of them.
It supposedly happened to Jay-Z on an airplane in first class. People freaked out in the air. Yeah, happened to Adele twice. Yeah, she did it twice.
Yeah, and then she basically turned around and said, I'm not going to be seen
or anymore.
Yeah.
We called
You
that
can't
one.
make this up, right? Yeah. You can't make this up. Like that literally happened, right? And again, and there's like Kim Kardashian dressed up as a albino Draco for Halloween. That's on
Yeah.
my thing.
How many celebrities are doing that at the moment? Dressing in demon
Yeah.
stuff and reptilian stuff, and
Here you go.
yeah, it's like they're saying that they're shoving it in our faces. You know, like they're saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're
Look at
telling
that.
you the truth. Yeah, we're telling you the truth,
Yeah.
and you know, if you don't listen to it, then that's on you. So,
I mean, seriously, you're trying to tell me that I'm going to dress up as a crocodile for
Yeah.
Halloween.
doesn't look like a costume to me.
Yeah. And again, people that follow that or whatever will tell you that the highest ranking ones of those things are white. They're white in color. They're white in appearance, right? So that she didn't dress up as a green one or specifically or like anything like that.
Dress up as an albino
Crocodile, right? I didn't even know those things existed, to be honest with you, right?
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I didn't even know there was such thing as an albino croc, man. But evidently,
There's a few that have been found here. Yeah.
So, and then somebody sent me a video of what appears to be Michael Jordan doing some like his arms. Yeah, I haven't posted the video.
Yeah.
Where's and it really happened. Like he's running down the court, and his arm literally becomes like it literally like a rubber band. I mean, you can go back and back.
Yeah.
And so, and then there was people recently on the Joe Rogan podcast, these Air Force guys that were talking about how they were doing it. I post all this stuff as well. And then there's a 1934 G. Warren Shefflett. He discovered an underground catacombs underneath Los Angeles that he referred to as these reptilian catacombs, right? And supposedly they flooded it or whatever, but they didn't. But those catacombs, I guarantee you, those were the same catacombs that would connect to the Grand Canyon. And as well, I think I sent you guys this article, via TikTok. The United States of America has admitted that our entire $37 trillion debt is the underground tunnels that we've built. Literally, like this girl was on Tucker Carlson saying that there is underground tunnels and bases scattered across America into the ocean. And I know it goes all the way to Australia and New Zealand. I know, I don't have proof, but I'm sure it is, right?
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of people talk about that, and whistleblowers coming out, looking at like the train systems and that sort of stuff, and how quickly these trains move along the tunnels systems. And
and she even said that it runs on alternate free energy.
Yeah.
And then when you go back to one of the things that got me, Princess Diana said the entire royal family are kid-eating lizards, man. And people laughed at her thinking that she hated them, but no, she literally meant they're not human. They eat children and they are lizards. That wasn't her being spiteful. That was her actually saying that's what these guys are, right? And so
there's even footage, pictures of the Queen changing.
Yeah.
It was just like, she changed. They put a letter on the official, Buckingham Palace thing going, oh, we're sorry, this is the Queen. She's not human, but she's still your queen type thing. Stayed with it for like 5 months. And they were like, we got hacked. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody sent me a video of Elvis Presley.
I know.
Losing. Have you seen it?
I was like, not Elvis.
His eye. Did you see
he literally, he smells this girl's hair. He's being kind to her, right? But he smells her hair, gives her a hug, and then all of a sudden she's like, ugh, like his face, like he started like little, and the guy gave him a napkin. He put a napkin on his eye, right? And they push it out again. He came out of nowhere. They'll try to tell you that he was like, a poor boy on the farm out of Memphis, working, cotton fields or whatever, and this big star or whatever. So these are just the people that we have in. And there's one more thing too that just has me curious, and I don't have all the answers on this. Is that in medieval times there's several prominent stories of Sir Juliet killed a dragon, And in our minds, we're thinking that's like, you know, like he killed a T-Rex or something like that, right? But I don't think that's what they were referring to when they say that he killed a dragon. I think what he's referring to is probably one of these beings. And,
Yeah.
and the whole term blue bloods is a whole different thing that comes out of there.
So it's interesting because there was a theory around talking about dragons and that sort of stuff and the tapestries and all that other sort of historical evidence saying that dragons are real and you know they would go in and kill these dragons, except they were never as big as what they said they were. They were actually just the size of a horse, or they were in fact smaller than that. And so when you then kind of minimize the size of these things, and in fact you're running around, you're a warrior running around with a sword chopping off the head of something your size, you're not that freaking cool. So it does give the possibility, opens up those doors to say, well, in fact maybe it wasn't a tiny little dragon, maybe it was some form of a reptilian creature that was semi your size.
And then a lot of them where you see where they've got like these dragons on leashes, or they're hanging out in the garden with them. There's a lot of royal. It's like royal noble bloods. It's not like a random person down the road. You know, it's like these are all royals that are showing, oh, here's my pet dragon, or here's my pet. You know,
that's actually a really good theory, because I also pointed out is that if they were killing dragons, that was something so amazing to them that they would create tapestries and, you know, write stories. But these people also, why didn't they collect the head? They would shoot a buck or a deer or a stag is what they would call it, and put it on the wall. So if you killed, like, you know, Drogon from Game of Thrones, you're just going to what? Leave it there? No one's taking that back. No one's keeping the head. There's none of the reference on that. But if you say it was if you just go down the path, like, okay, he killed a humanoid or he did whatever. And again, literally this month in March, the Smithsonian came out and admitted to destroying giant bones in America. They admitted it. They finally come out and said that, yes, we've been doing that for X amount of years, right? So it's much more easy. So to say that, oh, they wouldn't, what are they going to do? Just lock it up? Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
And there've been some really odd shaped skulls, you know, that have been found, you know, and before the bloody CGI, you know, all this kind of crap came in, you know, and there's photos and stuff of them, and they're really odd shape, really odd teeth, and it's just like, again, they've all disappeared. So, and they're like, no, they're all fake, you know, and that's their, you know, look at Greta Thunberg. Oh my God, there's footage of her and her teeth go sharp, like I'm just like, I've never seen that one before, and she literally just ends up having like all these really, really sharp teeth, and you know,
okay, so hang on, Joe. So Juliet, is this the same as the interview that we had where her teeth went sharp? Is this the same category? Are we saying that potentially you were talking about a reptile?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's it, you know, and that's what people say, you know, you get this whole threatening feeling around them, isn't it? You know, it's not like you're not having encounters with these things and it's friendly. You know, I've never heard of a friendly reptilian encounter.
Never.
You know, we've had,
hang on, Jules. So just to buff this out for anyone, Joe and I and Jules have talked about this off camera because we had this interview with somebody online, and it was meant to be fantastic. And throughout the whole interview, I was like, Juliet, why the hell are you not talking? She's literally sitting there like, and you know, she can talk, right?
I'm Juliet.
Literally like that.
Oh,
whole time. It was driving me insane, and I was like trying to run this interview and like have like good conversation and like laugh and stuff, and she was just like, I can.
But also within that conversation, every time I literally tried to say something, the person turned on me and got almost aggressive with me and shut me down, and it was really, I was just like going, okay. And so I felt threatened. It was odd. And like the word that came to me afterwards, I said, I felt dread, and I couldn't stop because all I could see were fangs. This is just so bizarre for me. Like, I have seen apparitions, I have seen, you know, and I'm trying to not go down the crazy line here.
Some faces in the dark.
And I'd never seen it before, never seen it again, but all I could see were fangs coming from the teeth. And it was the most bizarre interview, and we haven't released it.
And we won't. And we won't.
And
but
we have no more contact with this person.
Is this reptilian?
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of pictures and videos of the teeth changing and being sharp and spiky.
So don't rule that out, because someone sent me a video. I haven't posted it again because I'm spacing out my reptile video.
Trying to get banned.
Yeah. Yes, exactly right. There was this Mexican singer out of America. Her name was Selena. She actually supposedly she got shot by one of her managers or something like that.
Oh yeah.
She was hugely popular over here in the Mexican community. Someone sent me a video where she's talking, and her mouth, and this was in the 80s, 84.
Yeah.
No CGI, no nothing. And her mouth is doing weird things, and her teeth are 100% looking like turning into a T-Rex mouth. Is what I called it, man. It was going crazy. And the people that have talked to me offline, and again, everybody, I don't want you to think that's all I do. I don't eat and breathe this stuff, but when I try to give people courtesy and hear their stories. Even if I don't use their stories, I try to be, like, hey, thanks for the time. They always talk about this feeling of dread they get, like they wake up. And when, like, it makes me feel, I feel scared. I want ultimate fear. But there's also a legitimate, if you ever hung out with any paranormal investigators, they will tell you that getting around certain power cords or power lines in old houses will make you feel anxious because of, the
energy,
emitting the energy, the frequency that's coming off of it, right?
Yeah.
And people have told me that these creatures, they aren't shifting their faces, their body. They're somehow clouding our minds with like electromagnetic frequencies. And so that frequency also generates your fear in your body, either intentionally or unintentionally. And it explains that. And again, I've tied this all back into when I first got into it. There's something different about New Zealand and Australia. And I know if you've never been there, I've never been in New Zealand, but I've been to every major city from Perth to Sydney to Brisbane, all the way up to some ones at the top up there in Australia. Australia is different. And if you've never been there, and I don't think I have the vocabulary, other than everything wants to kill you, including the women. Everything wants to kill you, right? Yeah, exactly. There's something about it, feels like it's prehistoric. And I'm not talking about going to the casino in Queensland or whatever, everything like that, dum-dums or whatever. I'm talking about like go 10 minutes that way where they filmed that Joey cartoon back in the day where the little, what was his name? Joey the Hoppy? Skippy. Skippy. Go out there.
Right.
Yeah, go out there. It's got a vibe to it. And I think that when they get around that area, something about the raw, the best way I can describe it is the raw nature energy that comes from those two countries. It's different. I can't explain it, right? I can't, but it's just different, right? And so I think when they get down there, that causes so again, don't rule that out, that, she was having, like, you were seeing through the whatever.
Even now it kind of like I find it so, and this is, when people go, oh, I saw a Bigfoot, I saw this, and they're still kind of comprehending it. I still do. I'm just like, in my head, I'm just going, am I actually really seeing this? It was to be kind of feeling like I was being attacked through a screen. And then I'm like, how can that happen? And then when you look into it, I've even watched a program where they're talking about, it was a bunch of priests and stuff, I can't remember the name of it, where they go around and talk about demonic attachments and stuff and attacks through the screens and stuff, and, how this stuff happens. And I was just like, it kind of blew me away, because like I've never thought that anyone could attack you through a screen type thing. I know there's a lot of manipulation within the media and all that kind of stuff, but to physically feel somebody coming at you, it was a like a whole brand new experience for me, and I still kind of like.
But we now have a safe word.
She could be listening.
We now have a safe word just in case Juliet is getting demonically attacked.
Yeah, my safe word. I have a safe word too. It's keep going. I know. I take that back. Keep going. Keep going. You know, and also when you guys had told me that, I actually gave it a good amount of thought afterwards. While I was hanging out with Juliet, and I was giving her a good thought that when I grew up I think I told you this, but Lisa, when I grew up in Upper East Tennessee in the Appalachian Mountain Ranges, I grew up on the border between literally North Carolina and Virginia, right up in the upper top of Tennessee, smack dab in that Appalachian Mountain Range. And we used to go out as kids and play. And, you know, the older generation would be like, hey, look, be careful out there. There's an old hate in those woods. That's how they would refer to it, right? There's an old hate in those woods. And I was telling Juliet, there's things on this earth, man, that are so much older than us, that are just so much more, you know, dark and wicked upon ways that you can't, in a healthy mind, you would never, again, like a skinwalker, like the Navajo skinwalker. If you go and look at what they have to do to become one of those things, a normal healthy mind is not ever thinking like, yeah, I'm going to get into that, right? Like you're not going to think that, right? Yeah. But there are things when you go into a perfect example is Lilith, not to take this on a whole another rabbit hole, right? I had a guest come on my show. I haven't been able to air this. There was a girl who came on my show, and all she does is study Lilith. And in the middle of the show, her light started flickering, her connection started breaking. She wanted to stop, and we prayed. We did. We couldn't go on. I literally had to stop half the episode, and she wanted to come back and do it fresh to go down that rabbit hole again. But Lilith is as old as Adam. Yeah. That's how old it is that goes back on it. There's things on this, and this earth, again, I tell people, this is not my words, but this earth is a prison for fallen spirits. Every scripture will tell you that. It's a jinn, it's a trap. You're here. Yeah. Everything is, so we're down here, we're rubbing elbows with, you know, some bad ones, right? And so I 100% believe it. I've never heard of anything like, other than Darth Vader going, be quiet, Juliet. Other than that right there, like Darth Vader giving the squeeze, right? Other than that giving the squeeze, right? I've never seen that happen either, right? But it's like, wow, yeah. So
yeah. But that's it, you know, and it's funny, you know, all these mythology stuff, they talk about this ancient evil, this ancient power. Everything always goes back to the ancients, you know, and there's always this, you know, and the manipulation of us and of people, and, you know, and they're going back to the reptilian side, you know, how they are known more for basically doing the geno stuff and manipulating our DNA and, you know, and all that kind of stuff, but not just people, but animals as well. You know, and so this is where we were talking about the trains and the dogmen and stuff, but it was like, are they manipulating? Are they making the so-called dogmen? And, you know, it's like, you know, there's this war going on. So there's so many different avenues. It's like, are they building an army? You know, are they awakening people? It's just, I mean, that's how we could go on. Like,
I have proof of that. I have proof of that theory, right? And I have proof of that theory with the current disclosure that's going on. I don't know if you've ever guys talked to Tommy from the Let's Get Freaky podcast. He's out of Poole, UK or whatever. I'm gonna hook you guys up, man. You guys would be a good guest. I'm gonna get that done. So Tommy's out of Poole, UK, right over there, and he has been talking to me lately that there has been a sighting, an increase, like a significant increase of Bigfoot sightings over there in the UK, which is normally. Maybe happens occasionally over there, but not like the Yowie or the sightings that we have in the Americas, right? At the same time that's going on, there's been a massive uptick in dogman sightings in your country, right? And that's undisputed. That's not even disputed, right?
It seems to be more dogmen than Yowie.
Yes, and this all coincides within 6 months before the disclosure from the U.S. that we have these rail systems and that we're going off. And I do believe that take the Anunnaki, take whatever, pick your flavor of theology. They all believe a battle's coming, right? They all believe it, right? They all believe a fight is coming. And if you read the book of Revelations, it talks about when God fights in the battle of Armageddon, that he'll fight, that the crows will feast on the bodies of men and mighty men. That's very specific. Mighty men is not just a guy that's 6'5" and super. That's just a man. Mighty men are a reference, very, very, very specific to in the book of Genesis, where it says there were men on the earth at that time and mighty men. Those are Nephilim, right?
Yeah.
So 100% they're preparing for something to go down because they think they're going to win, right? And I think that it's almost like, and if you've been in the military like I was, you have to deploy your troops. You have to put them in the areas where you got to go. You got to go where it's going down. And to think that Australia and New Zealand aren't going to be major players in whatever goes down, then you haven't really been paying attention, because they are going to be major players in whatever goes down.
That's what they talk about New Zealand. There's like all these billionaires that are going over there and buying land and building bunkers, and they're like, that's how you know when the battle's going to begin, because all these billionaires will start leaving and end up in Australia and New Zealand. They're like, look at them leaving.
So the guy who owns Fox News in America, I don't know if you know this name, Rupert Murdoch, right? Is he? You know this guy?
Yeah, he's big here.
He's an Australian. He's in Australia. He has a little crazy little survivor bunker. He doesn't live in America. He lives in Australia, and so that makes you got to think that why would an Australian want to influence American politics so much? Well, when you think about, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
No. Nope.
But also too,
we'll get banned.
So when you go to New Zealand, we've talked to Lisa about this. The most, in my opinion, probably the most high tech, super secret research facility is in the North New Zealand. That's where they're doing all this genome testing. They just brought back some crazy extinct bird over there or something like that, right? Or someone was seeing about that.
In section 21, I think, is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
And it could be section 24. Somebody fix that in the comments for me later and tell me what it is. But it is said that there is this facility up in the top of the North Island, and it is alleged that they still have Haast eagles up there, giant flying Haast eagles. Now, how they would keep them without us seeing it, who knows? But there's been rumors floating around for a long time about that, and I would not be surprised. New Zealand is a sanctuary, we are a wee little sanctuary. We are far enough away to be tested on perfectly for an environment of 6 million people. They tested FPOS. Do you have FPOS over there? PayWave, with your cards. When you go into a shop and you want to buy, tested in New Zealand?
No, I will say that you guys are definitely the beta test for any New World Order thing that's about to go down. I'm saying like, oh my Lord, the things they do down there, right? Yeah.
We are being tested for everything. We were one of the first to go into full lockdown and have the airports all closed. Very, very interesting stuff. When you look at it, when you step out of it and you kind of look into it, New Zealand is the perfect little testing ground. And then they go to Australia because it's a little bit bigger and broader and the locality is different and that sort of stuff. But there's a shitload of conspiracy around like reptilians kind of running the world and stuff. And can I just jump into the comments real quick? Mike has asked if you could send a link for that news reports on the Smithsonian. And if you could find that at some point, I would love to see that as well. I mean, New Zealand, we have huge amounts of giants and reported giants throughout history. And we're only talking, maybe max 80 years ago, that these bones, that there was giants actually living as chiefs. And there are still stories just a generation or two back. My dad found giant bones. The university came in and removed all of that and sent it somewhere. So that's pretty massive as far as kind of that sort of, even if it was just not as straight up and down as, we've been burning them and incinerating them. Sorry, everyone, versus a little bit kind of blasé and working it a little bit. It's
Yeah.
still
So the first known incident was, I think there was a lake up near Wisconsin. I did a little 1 minute thing on you can go to my Instagram page and look it on there, where they showed up one day after. It's the Wisconsin giant bones mounds or whatever. They went in there and did it on
the
and go
mounds.
back. And so I was in the Smithsonian about 4 weeks ago. I was in there, and they had an Almac head outside the Smithsonian now in stone, right?
Mm.
And when you go into the door from the side of you Americans, if you go into this, there's two ways to go into the Smithsonian. There's the back side through the park over there. They call it the Washington Mall, but it's basically just a great big grass. And the side that faces the White House side, the backyard of the White House. If you go in there, there's an Almac head right there. And their new prized possession when you walk in the door is one of those statues that were buried up to their necks on Easter Island or whatever.
Ma'au.
A Maui in there, right? They're getting and again, if you go and look at, I talked to this guy, a buddy of mine out in California. He has a show, Paranoia Radio, right? And he's going down the trail that the ancient Almacs were actually using some type of organic AI. Like they were developing like an AI through. And so when you read these old things about how basically it's the movie Avatar, where they're downloading their DNA and their memories into like these trees, that the almanacs were actually doing that, right? And so again, if you go down the line, if you trace it all the way back down, it always comes down to they were Nephilim. It always comes back to that at the end of the day, right?
It does, isn't it? Yeah.
And so, and again, when I stumbled on another rabbit hole, another thing that I was working on is that if you go, when you look at every sculpture that you see in Italy and Rome, they're all missing hands and feet. And they're like, oh, you just think they're being clumsy. No, they had 6 fingers. And that's why they chopped off their hands. And that's why they chopped off their feet. And it just looks like somebody took this priceless statue and didn't know how to move it from one place to the other. No, those were moved on purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always said it, man, again, that the Smithsonian is the Men in Black. That's what I think the Men in Black are. That's what I think they are, man. Yeah, 100%. I think it's the Freemason strong arm.
Yeah. They've finally come out and admitted that, about the giant boats, because everybody knew, like everyone is like been on their asses going, we gave you this, and they've all disappeared. So what else have they made disappear? What else have they destroyed? So it's just opened
and so then how far does the reptilian thing go up and through? Are we talking about I know there's theories of these reptilians working side by side with government officials, high level government officials, like the contracts and that sort of stuff that were signed years ago in the 40s and whatever. And so how high do you think it goes? Is the Smithsonian being run by reptilians?
Yeah.
Why are they in celebrity Hollywood? What's the purpose of that?
So
give us a
I actually think that again, this wasn't my chosen thought. These are just things that I do a lot of my stuff to make memes because I want to make fun of stuff and laugh at it. But you people that are watching this probably don't believe me, but ask these girls. Seriously, what I'm talking about. I send them stuff sometimes of an American dude shooting a potato gun off the back of a motorcycle with no clothes on. It's not that I don't live and breathe this. Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. You can't be taking this sort of stuff way too seriously. Otherwise, you get stuck in a really
yeah.
You have to be able to get back out of it. So yeah.
When I was wanting to make fun of Adele, right? Because I made a lot of gay guys mad. I don't know why, but I made them really mad when I said, leave Adele alone. They came right at me, right? So and again, my toxic trait is when I find out people hate me, I try to make it worse, right? So don't judge me, right? So when I started looking into Adele, it became apparent quickly she's actually not a good person. She's really not. She is littered with occult symbolism. I'm talking littered with occult symbolism. Yeah. She is 100% full-blown in that cult. Satanic cult, call it whatever you want to do it. Yeah. 3 fingers, eye over her hand.
You name it. Yeah.
All this stuff. She is littered with it, right? Littered with it. And when you go back to the biblical references of Satan being the dragon that came down. He is the king of these people. He is the king of these people. Their religion is to him. And so I can't really speak too much on your guys' politics, but over here in the United States of America, our government is actually changing, but we have been exposed as the hands down most corrupt government on the planet. We ruin countries. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
We're not talking about like, thank God, praise God that it's coming to light, and they literally just tried to do it again 3 weeks ago. We're like, and we made them, and 90% of Americans are like, hell no, you better stop what we're doing. We ain't doing this again. And they actually did. But the United States government came out literally today hiding the fact that hepatitis B vaccine, jams. This came out today when we're coming on here from my government, increased autism by 1,137%. They've been hiding that. There was a time when I was a kid when 1 out of every 30,000 kid had autism. It's 1 out of 37 in America right now. 37.
Same thing is happening here. People are arguing they've had vaccinations, and the thing here is probably going to get us banned. Shouldn't do. But if you don't take your kids, they'll take away all your family tax. They'll take away any payments that you're getting. They penalize you. They charge you. They'll fine you. Yeah. So you are forced to vaccinate your kids so you can survive.
And so when I was a boy, you had to get 7. I'm not going to lie, man. You had to get 7, and that was it. It's like 75 that you have to get right now in America. 75. Shit. No lie, man. They want to give boys things that, anyways, we won't go down there. It's all changing. It's all coming. It's all slowly starting to back down. But if you have something that it's important that I want to use my articulation here to make this be okay. If you have something that you both hate and fear, you have to subvert it. And that's what I think these reptilians, they hate us at the same time and they fear us at the same time. Because if they could just come out and turn us into chickens where we're just walking around, they would have already done it, right? They can't. Something is preventing that, where they're forced to move into the shadows, right? And so I've been sent videos here that were odd, where these people are in Congress and one person is talking and there's literally somebody behind them mouthing the words that the person is saying in front of them and like looking up into the sky, like it's like puppeting them somehow, right?
I've seen that. I've seen that.
And I've seen this one where this girl's neck did something like it went like up a little bit longer. I can't even do it. And it went like it did something weird. Like, I don't know what happened. Yeah, it came out.
So those muscles are called your sternocleidomastoid mastoid, right?
All right, say all right. Here we
that
go.
Sternocleidomastoid mastoid. Everyone say that. And they go up into your mandible and they go down into your clavicle. And in women, if she was actually a woman, she may very well have been a man. But if she in women, they simply cannot grow wider or larger than a certain diameter because of the way that our structure is built as far as our vertebrae, the width of our vertebrae and that sort of stuff. And so you're talking about the sternocleidomastoid mastoid. Yeah, I've seen that as well. And I was
like, it came out and then it went back in. And I was like, wow.
Like pills, isn't it?
Like it's almost like she was like at the gym, just got a big old pump in, man. I was like hitting them with the flex, right? And then all of a sudden, like it came back down.
Sure.
But then somebody else hit me up too, saying, "Hey, look, man, you're going too hard on them. Not all of them are all bad." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. I'm really not. I don't think I'm going that hard on them." But like,
what part is not bad? I don't understand. I do understand. Juliet told me about a story of a woman who was abducted. Essentially,
she was abducted,
tortured. Yep. What was that story, Jill? So maybe that.
Yeah, so that was on. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, so she was. She had been abducted by what she thought were Palladians, I think it was, and or Arcturian aliens, and then basically had this horrific experience. But then kind of came out of it, and then apparently they still talk to her, but they tell her nice things. And so when they interviewed her. And then they found that she got like a chip in her and all this other kind of stuff. and they were like, hey, we can take that out for you, we can help you. And she turned and she's like, no. She goes, no, I'm still in contact with them. I still want to have that contact with them. And basically almost got really aggro with them. And basically the whole conversation was over. She's like, no, this is what happened to me, but I still want them. I still want to be a part of them. I've still got a lot to give to them. So it was almost like she was like being controlled by them. It was the most bizarre thing. Yeah, I will find it.
And there's there was another story as well, like a woman, maybe she was over in England, and she woke up to having reptilian or reptoids in her bedroom, and essentially they took her to some sort of an underground place into a room and a tunnel and all this sort of stuff. She remembers going through there. And then she said all of a sudden there was like 4 or 5 of these creatures standing around her, and they put a hand, one of their hands on her body, and all of a sudden her body started changing into this reptoid creature. And she said, and I had a tail, and my hands were scaly, and I was happy because it was wonderful and it was great. And apparently this is something that numerous people can do because of the genetic modification.
Yeah, because apparently half of us have been spliced into reptilians.
Okay, so it's going to be that kind of party, huh? All right, I'll dress accordingly. Wow. So,
yeah.
So my comeback to them is that I mean, like, that's like saying, like, I don't go out of my way to kill a chicken, but I will eat a chicken. You know what I'm saying? That's I'm not cruel. They might not be cruel to all of us, but if you, and I say this about not just them, but the other whole reptilian or, you know, ET things or whatever, why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? Like, why are you hiding? Right? Like, that's my thing. That's the thing that, like, I don't understand. Like, oh, they're not all bad, or they're not all fill in the blank or whatever. Well, then why are you hiding? Why are you snatching people up in caves? Why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? And I don't buy that nonsense anymore about, oh, we're not ready to freaking, you know the truth. If we ain't ready right now, then we ain't never going to be ready after the last 4 years of this crap that we've had to go through, or maybe even longer, right? Some of us even longer, right? So no.
Is it the fact that they're not strong enough? That you're saying they fear us still. So if they came down, it's like we're still strong enough to basically repel them.
And again, I have biblical, and I have data on that. In the Bible, it says that we are created, us humans are wonderfully and fearfully made. Wonderfully and fearfully made. Now, why would God said he feared making us? We are wonderfully and fearfully made. And then again, people, I know you're like, oh, he's believing in Jesus. Okay, I'll tell you, well, let's talk about the Sumerian tablets. In the Sumerian tablets, Enki created us. His older brother Enlil got super PO'd, and he literally says in the tablets, dum-dum, you made them too strong. One day they could conquer us. He literally says that in the Sumerian tablets, right? And if you go and I haven't been able to locate this, and somebody sent me something, but I thought he was trying to hack my computer, so I didn't click on the link. But it says that he sent me a reference saying that Enki put 13 different strands of alien DNA into our bodies from, the collective of DNAs that he had collected from wherever he had did, right? So supposedly, again, I didn't read this. I haven't done a lot of thought into it, but supposedly that's what makes us special, is because we're not just one thing. We're a combination successfully of so many other things. And this isn't our final form. There's one more form that we're supposed to take on. And even if you read the book of Revelations, it says we will get new bodies. It literally says that. It says we will get new bodies, right?
Which are meant to be celestial bodies once.
Exactly. Yes, something, right? Like something will like we're in our final turn of our cocoon phase of our beautifulness, right? To get there. Right? And that's what I say.
I feel like this is working. Just real quick interlude.
No, I like it. Like, don't be surprised if you start seeing that, man.
Clearing out, they're just like,
but whatever it is, there is a reason that they're scared to touch us or to to we're not, they have to dominate us through subversion. And again, I don't really go into too much where it talks about we have to give them permission. That's why they always have to tell us what they're going to do or whatever. I haven't really done enough research on that to speak intelligently. I do believe they do that for their own well-being that they think, but I don't know if that has some type of cosmic or law that I'm not into.
Hey, Joe, have you heard about The Inside Job? Have you seen that? Julia, do you know The Inside Job? It's a TV show on Netflix.
No.
Oh, dude, like, okay, I can't play a video on here. I was desperately going to try and play a video on here. But if you've got the internet in front of you now, just research real quick, Inside Job, Netflix, right? Essentially, it's like a Simpsons-based cartoon, but it's all about reptilians in Hollywood.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Fuck, it's funny, man. It is ruthless. And so it's exactly what you say, right, Joe? And I know that you don't delve too much into it. I do. I've done a shitload of research into that sort of space as to they have to show us in plain sight what they're then going to do. And that goes into occult practices and rituals and all of that other stuff. They must lay it out. There was a movie called what was it? The one that President Obama directed.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So full of symbolism, so full of just every part of that tells us that something was going to happen, predictions and and you say predictions, and I put those in quotation marks because they're only predictions if nobody's orchestrating it, right?
Yeah. Right.
If it's orchestrated, then it's basically just telling you what's going to happen. It's just giving you a game plan.
Yeah.
And you look at what the Simpsons, you can go right down those rabbit holes as to how on earth has the Simpsons managed to get so many predictions correct? Or is it because they are forced into telling us what is happening and what is going to happen?
Yeah. And like I said, I used to be a Freemason. I got back out. I've talked about that in length. When I told you how weird it got when I was in there early. And but they absolutely, and again, when I tell people on my show, I've got into it with several people, right? And they'll say like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, you know what? That's what they want you to say. It doesn't matter if you believe it. They will kill for it. And that is, I'm being very honest when I tell you that's not a scare tactic or anything like that. They absolutely live and breathe. And when they pray to that owl god in Bohemian Grove, that's Lilith. Lilith was described as a female bird figure, and she took children, and they do the supposed mock sacrifices there. Well documented, all over YouTube.
Oh yeah.
They believe this. They believe it. They 100% believe it. So it doesn't matter what you believe. It's the person, what he believes, that has the power, right?
Sure.
What he believes, or they, because it's a collective, right? What they believe is the collective to move forward on it, right? And you have to really, and again, man, I hope I don't get too many negative comments on here because I've had almost borderline shouting matches with Australian men for some reason, right? That I don't know what that, I don't really know what that goes into, right? Where they completely have their heads buried in the sand. And I'm like, how could you not at least admit that something, we don't have to go into the details, but bro, can we just admit that something weird, that this is weird, that this is just strange, right? Mate, you up there, you yank, you think you know everything. And all this other stuff. If I understood what they were saying, I might get offended, right? Maybe I'll have Juliet or Lisa will translate the next time someone comes up. And I send them a T-shirt. And it's funny because they always take the T-shirt. They always take the T-shirt, right? I ain't make no hurries. Let me send you a T-shirt. Oh, you for real? All right, here I am. 4141 Queensland, right?
Free stuff.
We're cheap date, baby. We're cheap dates, right?
That's it, man. Exactly, right? Yeah. So I send them a T-shirt, man, and then after that, man, they start warming up and they start commenting on some of my videos. But if you go and look at some of my early videos, it's Australian dudes telling me I'm a dumbass or something like that, man. Just get into it. No hard feelings to any of you Aussie guys down there, but
no, I mean, like, this is the thing, right? Like, different, and we struggle with it as well with Americans and Europeans, and then us.
Yeah.
We're super brash when it comes to our sense of humor. We're straight up and down, and a lot of people can't handle that, and then we have to go, oh, sorry, we didn't mean that. Like, we're not trying to offend anyone, but you know what? We're not going to walk on eggshells to say, I'm just a disclaimer after everything I say, I'm sorry. Bullshit, man. If you don't like it, off you fuck. It's pretty straightforward. And the fact is we don't know the answers, right? It's not like you're sitting here, Joe, saying, I know the answers, but I do have receipts when I bring things to the table. You don't want to just go throwing out theories and then going, oh, I don't have any solid evidence to back up my belief system. Doesn't mean everyone else is wrong. It just means that you're semi-right.
Yeah, and my thing is, can we talk about it? Let's just I live in North America, bro. Like it would take me like I don't know, like 4 years to get to Australia. I don't know how long. I mean, like from a flight. I know it's a super long flight, right? And again,
24 hours, you'll be here, no problem.
Yeah. But like, can we just at least talk about it
before you get here?
Yeah, can we have like a conversation? That's the like you can't even like sometimes, and I get that in America too, man. But I'm kind of like my favorite comment is like, oh, you just lost a follower. Oh no, oh no. Like, I don't make it better because I said, okay, well, I guess I got to find another guy with no shirt on profile picture. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always a dude with no shirt on, right? And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Pictures like that.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
We don't have many of those yet, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, Lisa and I will have conversations, and we're like, "Oh, it'd be really funny. We should probably record this." Then we're like, "No, we'll just get banned." That's why we've done our R18 one, so we can have more conversations where we can talk a little bit more.
That's our dungeon talk. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's things that I would like to go into right now as far as like, you know, what reptilians eat. And I'm not going to go into that because that will get us banned 100%. But there's a whole heap of politicians wrapped up in that. There's a whole heap of other stuff wrapped up in that. And I think all of that, all of the underground sort of stuff that people don't want to talk about, adrenochrome, all of the other stuff that goes along with that feeds into this reptilian theory.
Yes.
That in fact they are controlling some part of the governments and the military, and they have agendas to enslave humanity in some way, shape, or form, whether or not that's, you know, enslavement in chains, or whether or not it's I'm on my phone and I have no personality and I now cannot communicate with the outside world. And this is something that was really prevalent about 7 years ago. I was running a youth center, and it was a creative center. So we taught them how to use Photoshop and do all the really, really cool stuff, and photography and all sorts of other bits and pieces. And we were approached to go over to China and put a group of kids together, teenagers together, and go over to China and teach their young people how to communicate and have relationships again.
Oh, wow.
Mental, because they're on their phones so much and they're on their computers so much, they've lost the ability to have communications and build relationships. Absolutely mental. And that was 7 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
So is that part of the agenda?
Yes.
Is that part of what they're trying to do to maintain that kind of fear and that brainwashing?
I just thought of something. That's why they're turning all these teenagers into furries. I'm a cat. I'm a dog.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You'll be the first ones to go.
I think it absolutely is. And again, and when we're literally worlds apart. We're worlds apart. I had a feeling, and I had to talk to I was in the military. I was naval intelligence 9 years, and I talked to my veteran friends all the time, and we all have a collective understanding. For the last 20 years, the United States of America has been at war of some sort, right?
Mm.
That we all agree that when we look back, like, why were we there? Like, what did we do? Like, why were we there? But these people, it actually ties in. I don't want to take too much of the podcast stuff, but like ties into the Denver airport. We'll talk about that on another podcast.
Sure.
But all they did was successfully train the average United States male how to fight in combat inadvertently, right? Because the ones that went over there and came back were the ones that developed the techniques that they teach now as they were in there. So I think there was a plan that I'm saying this as humble as possible, but if the United States of America wanted to take over the planet, I'm talking about not going there and not knock down buildings or build schools, or, you know, basically if they're like, hey, look, go make Ireland go away, you would get smoked.
Oh, totally.
We would go there, and if it was kill the dogs, right? You would get hammered, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that. Americans wouldn't do that. You have no idea the military power that if we wanted to go scorched earth, and I'm not even talking about nukes, I'm talking about if we wanted to go scorched earth on you, and you guys have given, not you guys, but like, you know, Australia, you don't have any guns. Right?
Yeah.
There's no militia there. And so, it didn't happen. What they did is they militarized our entire population on how to fight, and at the same time taught us to absolutely hate war, hate it. We won't do it anymore, right? And so I think their plan was that if we can't subvert populations, you know, with other methods, that we'll just have these guys going there, and it fell through. And what they've created over here, I call them, the United States of America right now is really, in my opinion, I live 20 minutes east of, you know, west of DC. It's a hornet's nest. What you have right now is a people that are just tired of fighting. It's just the only way I can say it, man. They're tired of fighting, right? And other countries too, like, you know, Australia, New Zealand, they supply troops, but we're putting hundreds of thousands of guys over there, right? You guys are sending 10, 5, 15,000 or whatever. And again, there's more guns in this country than there are people. The average gun owner over here has 7 guns. I mean, that's a little excess. I only have 5, but like 7, I can totally see that
That's
happening,
going
right?
overboard.
That's what I say, like 7? 7? Like, what do you need 7 for, right? So yeah. I think that was the plan. And again, to some people looking into the United States of America, we don't have it together. We don't have it together. Like, our government right now is splintered and fractured. They're fighting. They are evil people in positions of power that we didn't even know was a thing. They're talking about, they're finding money over there, and they're like, what is that agency? Oh, that's the We Create Kids Network in Uganda agency, but we also supply ISIS with AK-47s, right? Like, we didn't even know that was a thing, right? And so all that stuff's coming out. So I'm very positive of the future, but we gotta let us duke it out over here and swap some black eyes and get things going. But I think it will spread. I think it will spread quickly as well. But I do think you were right. That was the plan, right? I think so, and it fell through.
Well, do you think the New World Order is still on the cards?
No, and I'll tell you why. I'm sorry. I can tell you why I don't think it is.
Right? The New World Order, we're all going to move into digital currency. Yeah. We're going to be taken over by a one world government, space network, or the space defense force, all that sort of stuff. So
so that plan was a 3-part plan, right? And what the New World Order was supposed to be, and they've marked their territory with the obelisks. Washington, D.C., London, and the Vatican have the world's 3 largest obelisks. And in the Bible, if you read the Bible, it talks about pillars. That's what they're referring to. Yeah. The spiritual capital was supposed to be the Vatican. The financial system was going to come out of London, and the United States of America was going to be the muscle, the military wing to enforce it.
Yes.
But what recently happened, if the New World Order is supposed to be headquartered out of Jerusalem.
Yes.
And they wanted it to happen. And that was what this last war that we were supposed to get into was supposed to catalyst, that we were going to knock down the last little resistance over there, right? And then you were going to have the Abraham peace accords that were going to come in, and then Trump was going to have Saudi Arabia and all these guys build the 3rd temple, and they were going to put a picture of Trump or the Baphomet in there that was going to be the desolation of whatever it is.
Oh. And half of your Senate have dual passports with Israel.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
they can all go over there.
No one knew that until January.
Yeah,
we had no idea that was a thing, right? It's more than half.
So many of them have dual passports with Israel.
Yeah.
And so they took their shot. And here's the thing: like, I don't love or hate Trump, right? I've gotten in trouble defending him and also making fun of him. I actually put a post up on my Instagram that I thought was hilarious, which was Palpatine and Darth Maul standing behind him, and I put Trump and Elon standing behind him. I thought it was funny. Like, I just made the reference, right? Oh man, I hurt some feelings, right? I thought it was funny, right? And so it's still up there. You can go look at it. I thought it was hilarious, right? But Trump, he cares a lot about his legacy. He wants his face on Mount Rushmore. He really does, right? And that will not happen if we get into another war. It will not happen. We're not going to get into it. There will not be another war, right? And so he is and if you look at anybody that talks about, again, I don't really dig into this stuff too much, but if you go and look at what people talk about, that Trump's biblical references or his spiritual references, they refer to him as a disruptor. He's the disruptor, right? That's what they all say he is, right? He's not this great, unifying Christian praying man. He's supposed to be a leader that prays, but it's not religious. But all the prophecies talk about that he's this disruptor. Right. And that's what he's done, because the world order was coming together. He's not disrupting our lives. Our lives were like, good Lord, hanging on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's disrupting what they're going on, right? And he is a wild card. I don't know what this guy's going to say. Like, I'll look at a tweet on here. He's calling somebody a homo or something. I don't know what's going on, right? Right? He just sends that off, right? And so,
and then dropping the F-bomb, and everyone's like,
"Oh, exactly, man! I don't know what the F they're doing, right?" And then getting out and then walking on an airplane, right? And I'm like, "All right, well, there you go. That's in the record now, right?" So I don't have, like, I got in trouble with him one time because he wanted to nuke a hurricane. I just thought that was hilarious. That was his answer to it. Yes, that would work. The pressure would blow the hurricane out, but you just detonated a nuke in the atmosphere. That's like a little, and so.
You want blue stones coming down? There's gonna be more than blue stones coming down.
I also got in trouble when I defended him. When I defended him as well, when I got in trouble with him, when he was saying, like, I don't want any more killings. I'm tired of people dying. And that's like, I agree, right? We should not be over there. No. Messing with those people. Look, man, China has nukes, Russia has nukes, North Korea has nukes. They're all pointed at us right now. You can go on the internet, look with a map where the nukes are pointed at, but they can't have one because they say death to America. Get out of here. What is that, man?
I tell you what, Joe. So a report came out last week. And it's all over TikTok if you get onto that algorithm, saying that if there was a nuclear war, New Zealand is the safest place, and you should get a ticket. The problem is butter is so expensive over here.
And cheese, you'll have to bring your own.
Bring your own cheese. Yeah.
So,
and apparently we have reptilians down here now, so just be aware.
All right, I'll keep that in mind, man, for you. But yeah, I think they tried to do it. I think they took their shot. I think we took some beatings. I do think that if you've ever, and again, man, I get into, I don't mean to offend people. I don't try to, but it doesn't bother me when I offend people. But if you've ever been in a street fight before, everybody gets hit. You're gonna there's Jason Bourne's not real. I'm not walking into a bar in Australia and breaking elbows and throwing people through the way. Waker, who you calling a waker? What does that mean, right? That's not happening.
Right? Drunk to actually throw a punch. They're like, hey.
Exactly, right? Yeah, go in there and say Aussie rules is better than rugby or something like that. Whatever I do to get these guys fighting, right?
Yeah.
So America, it's not the first time we've done this either, where we've basically, went to war with ourselves.
Yeah.
But so you take some hits along the way and you take some punches along the way to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they took their shot. I really do. I really think they took their shot, right? And I have people that are in that world. They eat and breathe it. I really don't eat and breathe it as much as they do because I like, stuff on my walls back here as well. I
still like Bigfoot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, look at my show. Like, well, I mean, you can tell where mine's at. And so I don't eat and breathe it. I don't fear what's going to go down. I don't think that we're about to be moved into the tribulations in the Bible. I don't think that's happening. I think that's at least 1,000 years away. I do think that, this is just my opinions. I do think that You know, the scriptures will tell you God will take what the enemy meant for your evil and turn it for your good. I do think that we are going to, and the digital currency thing was coming. That's probably still going to come, right?
Still coming, yeah.
But I do think that, I mean, you just have to look at XRP. I don't want to get too nerdy, but XRP replacing the SWIFT financial system, how they transfer money, that's a done deal, right? That's absolutely going to happen, right? And so a lot of people don't realize too, the reason why you get paid every 2 weeks is because it takes time for that money to get transferred over, right? With this new digital system that's coming in, you'll get paid every day because it'll be pennies on the dollar where your day wage will kick in. You don't have to go those 2 weeks, right? And, you know, that'll help you as well. I don't know if you've ever had to live paycheck to paycheck before, like I have when I was, you know, younger, but it'll help. So I do think those things will go into, into play, but I don't think it'll be used to dominate you or dominate us. It won't in America because we'll burn it down. And then
I'm gonna Australia. I have the same feeling with Australia. You know, like we a couple of weeks back, there's, you know, the Aussies are in an uproar here. Is that basically the Australian government has given all the control to who? Hey, you know, WHO. Any more pandemics or anything.
Not to laugh at you. Sorry, Julie. I chuckled at you.
I know. And we're just like, the Aussies are just like, no. I couldn't even imagine that trying to happen here in Victoria. There would be a civil war. Like, honestly, the whole thing would just blow up with the people here. You know, people are going, oh my God, there's going to be another pandemic. They're going to shut down again. Aussies are like, no. Nope.
They hinted at that. They hinted at that with us about chickens were dying. We're like, great, we'll fry it. I've ate worse. And I'm not.
We're like, give it all the bugs. It's fine.
We're not doing it. No. So that's the same way up here. Like, if I laugh too because we laugh about, like, when UN soldiers get stuck in the Appalachian mountain range, we make all kinds of jokes about that, right? Like, so the same way, I can only imagine a bunch of blue helmets in the outback, stuff like that, right? Right? Yeah, go pet it. Yeah, it's only a 40-foot long salt crocodile.
All our animals are friendly here. Like, even the littlest ones are the cutest.
Juliet and I joke that I'm going to die because I'm going to pet a bear when we go over to America, because I'm going to be like, oh, so fluffy.
Have fun with that. That's like, oh, look, it's a black mama. Yeah, they're cuddly. I'll go pet that black mama. Yeah, it's cool.
He's got a very angry look on his face. He's fine.
Black mama. That in Australia, that means good day, mate. Black mama. That's how the natives talk. Yeah, it's a black mama. Go there and touch it. Yeah, no. So I don't think that'll happen, but I really don't. And again, I don't think that it would be. I don't think. I think that they realize now that, you know what? Okay, hold up. There's a will to live that we kind of underestimated with these people, and that they took it to the limits the last time they did it, right? So they might need to wait a couple of generations, and they'll totally play the long game. Because again, these reptilians live like 800 years, 1,000 years or whatever. They got no problem playing the long game, right? But no, I think they might try.
We'd roll over and that kind of backfired, didn't it?
So my question is, then I have another question about celebrities and, like, just the influx of, like, obviously we all have cell phones now and cameras and that sort of stuff, and we have way more software where we can slow stuff down and see the eye change and all that sort of stuff, be it AI kind of generated or be it for real, you know, on these older cameras as well. Why are their skin suits malfunctioning? Why are they shifting from one to another? Have they always done that and we just haven't noticed it, or is the fog
that's a great question. So the reason the pattern recognition that I've noticed, the last one that I posted on Instagram that got me in trouble was the German reporter going nuts talking in German, right? Have you seen that up there where her eyes blink out?
Oh yes. Yeah.
There seems to be at higher moments of excitement for them. I'm not going to say pleasure or pain, but excitement. When they get overly excited, that thing with their eyes happens, right? It's not that they're angry. It's not that they're upset because Elvis did it. the queen did some weird stuff. There's plenty of videos. There's plenty of videos out there. And again, anybody watching this thinking that you could go out there and do that, you can't. I use a very sophisticated video editor called DaVinci Resolve 19, where I could literally turn this pen into a lightsaber, right? It is extremely difficult to do that to the eyes and have it flawlessly go across, especially when you're coming in there. So people say, oh, that's CGI. First of all, CGI is even harder than like regular video editing, right? AI as well can't really happen on that. But there also is a fascinating theory about the bells that they used to ring back in the day. And when I was a child growing up, you would not go into a house that didn't have these clocks. They called them grandfather clocks, right? And yeah, so you guys,
we've had them, yeah.
I'm talking to you guys like you're on Mars. You guys have them on your planet, right? But yeah, everybody had those. You won't find them in America. And every old town in America had these bells, right? That would just at least go off around like 12 at noon, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
They're all gone, right?
Church bell. Every church had a bell. Full stop.
Yeah. And so
we have a town bell. We live in the country, and we have a city bell that goes off on the hour every hour.
Yeah. When I was growing up, those were everywhere. You don't hear them in America anymore. Right? I think they're going to try to bring them back, though. That's the theory. But something to do about that frequency or that goes through, right? The harmonics or whatever jams them up, man.
Yeah.
And it has them break that fold on it. But like I said,
yeah. That's interesting because, you know, one of the ways they say to get rid of negative entities within your house. I have a bell. You go around, you basically start in one corner and you basically ring the bell, and it's almost like you hear a dullness, and then it gets a higher frequency, and then you basically flush it out. You know what I mean? And that's what they do. They ring the bells in all the rooms to, you know, flush out the negative energy.
And there's legitimate science behind that as well, man. And the science behind it is that these entities phase in and out of, you know, whatever they are. We can't see them, right? So we have we have our skin suits, right, to be mobile and functional in this environment. So when they come in and out of this environment, they have to match our frequency. And so the science on that bell thing is to literally disrupt whatever they're trying to do to get through that, you know, razor thin veil to come and do it. But it was so common.
How many cultures around the world have got giant ass bells?
Yeah. The Tibetan monks.
Bells, all the giant bells.
So that's really interesting. So quartz crystal immediately mimics your own frequency. So the moment you put quartz crystal in your hand and it touches your skin, the quartz crystal literally starts vibrating at your frequency, not a certain frequency, but your frequency. And there's stories about you know, vests that have gemstones on them and that sort of stuff, biblical stuff, and bits and pieces, gold vests that they wear that have specific gemstones. Diamonds aren't in it. None of those new ones, but they're all like turquoise and agate and all that. And so I find that really interesting because your body, we're biological creatures. We have 2.6 trillion cells that make us up, and they all vibrate at their own frequency. And if you can have them vibrate at the same frequency, you never get sick. Cancer hits because your cells are vibrating in an incorrect frequency. And if you then use something like a Rife machine, which is a frequency generator, essentially, it realigns all of your cells to vibrate at a certain frequency. And there's been numerous scientific studies, especially Japanese studies, on water and sand and other things crystallization of what happens when the frequency is correct and when it's incorrect, right? Creates chaos or it creates beautiful spaces. And so our body is exactly the same. And I've seen it numerous times. And, I'm a personal trainer. I work in the fitness industry. So many of my clients and people that I've worked with have gone through things like cancer and things like that. And I'm like, first and foremost, go and get a sound bowl, go and get a frequency app, go and get something to realign your frequencies, because that is the most important thing. And so like when Juliet went over to Egypt and she went into the energy room and went into the big pyramids, and all of a sudden she was all, her cells were,
came back.
I came back from there, man. Like I went over, I've got rheumatoid arthritis. I ache. And anyone who has it, they know, like, your body freaking aches. I went over to Egypt within days of me being there. I didn't have a single pain in my body. And for about 2 weeks after I came back, I had no pain. And then it just slowly came back.
And it's not the heat, right?
Not the
Australia's
heat.
hot. Egypt's hot.
It was just like every time you walked into those temples, or you just felt a different energy. You know, you're touching the walls. You know, and I'm a hands-on person. Like they'll be like, don't touch this. I'm like, you know, it's at the museum, like everything was out, and you're just like touching them, and some of you like, that's really nice, and others you're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's and again, I learned that again. I grew up in the South, and it wasn't something that I really paid much attention to. But when I was in the military, I think I was probably about 19 years old. We were in Japan, and this is where I first really like, okay, this is like what you were talking about, that vibration is legit. I was in a bar over there, and me and my two of my buddies over there, and these 3 girls came over, right? And we paired off and we were talking, and I was being like, kind of like, and my boy's like, yo, man, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, man, this girl is giving me the creeps, man. Like, you don't feel this? Like this, you don't feel this? And like, no, what are you talking about, man? She's like, she looks great. And I'm like, bro, this chick is making me, I don't want to be around this girl, right? Her energy, man, I don't know what it was, man, but her energy was so strange. And then I went back, and then again, I was a younger man and I was developing, but then I kind of started paying more attention to that. And anybody, if you go back and reflect on your light, I used to use that as an example because that was the first time it happened to me, where I noticed, like, it was like, men, women, or whatever, man, a negative person gets in your zone long enough, you can feel it. I can. I don't know about you guys, but I can totally feel it. I'm like, man, what do you do, bro? Yeah, what baggage are you carrying around, man? Damn, get behind me, Satan. I'll say something like that, right? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, and
not today.
Yeah, not today, man. Like, yeah, I know you're good, man. You win, whatever. No, I don't mind this, man. Like, nah, you don't want to go play? Yeah. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good, right? So we are definitely vibrating spirit, like where there's more to us. Again, I try to get this point across on all my channels, or when I talk to people, it's like, if you think Earth is boring, it's you, bro. There ain't nothing boring about this life, right? So come hang out with us. You know what I'm saying? We'll open your mind, right?
I think it goes in the way too with women with intuition. Like, you know, we can be walking, we'll be fine, and then all of a sudden, like, your whole body just goes on alert, and you know something's not right. Yeah. You know, and I think, you know, and I've always, you know, stuck to my gut. Like, if something doesn't feel right, doesn't matter. You know, you could have the nicest person standing in front of you going, having a lovely conversation, and you're just like, nah, there's just something that's not right. You know, you're walking, you're going somewhere, or, you know, I've had times where I used to look after animals for an animal rescue. We used to look after dogs anyway. So we had a whole bunch of like these staffy puppies, and there was barking and stuff going on outside. Normally I go outside going, hey, what are you doing? Rah, rah, rah. I got to that door, man, and I was like, I'm not going outside. And I literally locked that door, and the windows were right along, and I ducked down, and I felt fear. And I'm like, something's not right here. And so, like, I kind of went back into the bedroom. There was still noise. I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I called the police. They turned up. Somebody had come in and stolen those puppies.
Oh, wow.
But it was just like, and then they got them back eventually. But yeah, the guy and the woman that they got them off of were not good people. That they were just like, you know, they'd had assaults and stuff. So it was like, even though I didn't know anyone was out there, and I felt stupid calling the police. I'm just like, I don't know, it's just something, you know, not right. And thank God, you know, back then you can call them and go, hey, and they're like, oh, whatever, you know, oh, come on over. You know, it was this instant bang, do not go out there. And, you know, it was, so I've always stuck with that. Like, if you get a warning, man, you listen to it. You don't step foot into wherever you're going.
I would never, I tell people, never ignore a woman's intuition. I think it has something to do with your hair too. Don't ask me why. I think a woman with long hairs, man, if a woman tells you, I don't feel right, or hey, something's weird, or something's not right, I listen, right? Like, and so, and that's definitely too, there's hundreds, more than hundreds, got to be millions of examples
Oh,
woman's intuition kicking
honestly,
in, man.
Joe, we were having this conversation. We just finished recording with the boys over at Cult of Conspiracy, and we were literally talking about this, how women are so connected to putting their feet on the ground and connected to the earth and all that sort of stuff, because we absorb that energy. And when we go out on like paranormal investigations or anything like that, we tend to see so much stuff like, oh my God, like we get it all the time. It's mental, you know? And so that was our conversation about how women are so incredibly connected, and including like that intuition and like the level that we vibrate at, you know, we tend to vibrate up here, whereas guys have a lower chakra and they vibrate.
And this ain't again, I'm not taking shots at anybody in here, but I also think that when a woman has a kid, I think it doubles. Like it goes into like, I don't know what it is, man. Even when the kid is not in the house.
Yeah.
Like, hey, something's like, what's going on? I think let me call and check on. Again, if you don't have any kids out there, women, grow your hair out. might get you a man.
Like, look at it.
You know how much work it takes to get this.
I was literally talking about cutting it off the other day because it's doing my head in. But no, you look at
seconds.
Do it, Donald Trump. Just kind of grow it a bit longer and just kind of pull it around the back.
Come over there. Come over. So put that right on there.
You do it. Kill it around the back. It's like good. You look at the Native Americans and how, one of the biggest things that they used to do, those kids used to go into those schools and the first thing they did was cut their hair off. And they would talk about how they suddenly felt this disconnect from everything because they cut their hair off, and that kind of stuff. So, and look at, Avatar, all comes through the hair and, many religions, even in the Indian religion, it's to do with the long hair and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So in Samoa, the children aren't allowed to cut their hair until they're 5. And then they have a big giant celebration about cutting their hair because it's the step into the next part of their life and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
In Vietnam in World War II, the Native American trackers, when they cut their hair, they fought like crazy. So literally, you can go look this up, man. They let them grow their hair back out, and so that they could fight better. They were always walking the point man up there. Yeah. So
it's insane. Eh? Yeah. And I mean, like Hollywood, like you talk about reptilians in Hollywood, whoever the directors are. Thank you, James Cameron, who actually, surprisingly enough, lives down the road from my house.
Really?
Lives in New Zealand.
And look, I'm not that happy about James Cameron because he made Avatar. We were in it, whatever. But he essentially ripped off the entire Maori civilization and all of the culture, and did not pay a damn cent to any iwis or anything anywhere, and in fact claimed tax money from the New Zealand government. So well done, you Dick. But more importantly, these people have so much control over what we see and how we see it, and ripping off older cultures and all of these stories. Like you look at Star Wars, for example, like where did these things come from? You look at what was I looking at the other day? Star Trek, and Captain Kirk was fighting a lizard man down on the planet, right? And I was like, is this a reptilian being? Like they always know there's truth in everything. There's historical evidence in everything, right? Yeah.
There's the series that ran in America for 2 years called V, and it's basically it's exactly what you're seeing as well. The Simpsons have made fun of it as well about it, and like it's all right. It's all right in front of your face, or in front of our faces. But I do think that it's coming to a head as far as eventually, like too many people are talking about it. It's just too many, right? And it's just too many people are talking about it. And again, it won't get you fully banned. You'll get a shadow ban, but it's only because Zuckerberg is a lizard. I call them lizards, man. So,
no, he's not. He came out and said, "No, I'm not. Gosh darn it. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm not a lizard man.
Yeah, I'm not a lizard.
Maybe that's what's throwing off their frequency. The fact that more of us are being aware. And so that, the third eye, whatever you want to call it, everything is opening. So that is throwing off the frequency because our frequency is as an awareness, and it's like changing, that kind of protection that they have maybe. So, I mean, there's so many you could.
You're absolutely right too. And again, when you get into the frequencies, I talked to somebody about it. Is that you got to remember that the Earth is a collective. Like even that we're separated from across oceans or whatever. Once our frequencies lock in on a collective, that's proven science. That's proven science that actually works. And so when the collective vibration of the Earth raises, again, I don't get into the whole ring a bell or open your third. I don't understand how that works, but I do know there's something to it. There's 100% something to it. I don't know the chakras, but I do know that there's energy that runs up and down. There's something there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's happening on an event, really, like
just global awareness. Yeah.
I mean, that's
so,
for the vocabulary. Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen, like in Hollywood? I mean, Hollywood's imploding
It's
on
dead.
itself very, very quickly.
It's done. The Hollywood as you knew it before is over, and it's been imploded by design. And again, I will tell you, not to run this long, but to tell you the reasons why on it.
You got time.
People hate Tom Hanks now. They hate him.
Oh yeah,
everybody knows what he's into, man. They all hate him. Everybody, if Diddy goes to trial, and he's in trial, if he goes away, what's that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's your show. But everybody at those Diddy parties, they're done. It doesn't matter if he goes to jail. He's ruined, right? Hollywood, as you know it now, is ruined. It's over. It's going. There's the whole again another dude who's daggone insane, man, is Robert De Niro. This guy's a nut. He's a nutter. Like what? How many boosters did you get, dog? Because dang, just should have stopped at 8. Like I don't know what's going on, but he's done, right? Jay-Z's done. Beyonce's done. Rihanna's done. All gangsters.
A lot of people I've never liked her.
But are they done, i.e. then they're going to lose their fan base, get put in jail, whatever? Or are they done in this pathway? Because they have huge followings. People that are like, oh yeah, you might have, it's probably all lies, or, that sort of stuff.
So she tried to go to the Country Music Awards. She tried to leave hip hop and become a country music star. They wouldn't let her go. She says, no, you're not in there. She was she was supposedly kind of uninvited. 2 days ago, she was wearing a shirt saying the blacks are the true indigenous. And I don't know if you saw that or not, but then everybody was like, what are you talking about? What is that coming from? Right. And then, so now she's arguing with like Native Americans, this whole culture thing going on.
I saw that kind of come up a little bit. Not that we're going to get into this, but I saw that come up a little bit saying there was a gentleman on there who looked very, very African American who was saying, I'm Native American, just,
So, and I'm just like,
all right, that's
I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. I got no, but that's a real thing right now. And so, no, it's the days of Brad Pitt releasing a movie that makes $100 million and everybody that they're done. I just picked him up.
It's almost like with the female celebrities, and some of the male celebrities is like, these are the ones that everyone used to basically go, Brad Pitt used to say this. Everyone's like, oh my God, yes, that's right. Or, Robert Downey Jr. And then you've got all these female celebrities that could do no wrong. And it's like, they're getting older. So people are kind of going away from them, a lot more reality style TV, that kind of stuff's coming on, YouTubers, Instagrammers and influencers. But Hollywood, it's almost like they've gone, oh my God, we've got to make these girls look more beautiful. We have to de-age them so people come back, because, you look at these women and you're just like, you look younger than you did 20 years ago. Or they just look horrendous. But it's almost like Hollywood's panicking and going, here's these amazing women that you used to follow. Look how amazing they look now. You can look this amazing too. All this, they're talking about the witchcraft being involved or some sort, of whatever to look young. So, do this or, and I think it's failing. The Kardashians, like you never hear anything. unless you watch their program, you never hear anything about them anymore. You know, they're gone. But I mean, they've already made their money. They've already got their power.
But you can see they have soul contracts, right? They have contracts on their soul plus 800 more times of their soul or whatever. Like, and it's written in those contracts, be it music industry or Hollywood acting industry. They literally sign away the use of their soul, their rights to their soul over generations and generations, with the idea that they're saying, well, we know that you reincarnate and you're going to come back, and then you're ours again to use. So they're just commodities, aren't they?
No, you're both dialed in perfectly. I did a post about how symbolism will be their downfall, right? How they talk in symbolism, right? And America went through, because of what we went through the last 4 some years, and 4 years and 6 months, we're kind of still going through it. A pretty massive spiritual awakening, right? That happened. And now when they understand what that triangle means now. You call it deep state, call it new world order, call it globalist, call it satanic, whatever, pick your flavor on whatever it is, right? We know what that means. And we see all that stuff. They've all done it. They've all done
Black
it. Right?
Eye Club.
All done it. They've all done it, right? And so now people are just more vocal about it. They won't go into it. And when you see the top of our older, we call them the boomers. When the boomers finally get out of the way, right, they're cooked, and they're never going to rebound. And you've had this thing that's starting to happen where people who weren't fully in that club have broken out and are starting their own little small independent things. And we'll see how that goes. Like, they've left Hollywood. Now they're in Texas or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but that whole satanic occult stuff, people see what it is. The award shows are nauseating. Nauseating filth is what I call it, man. I don't care who gets that upset, but I'm talking about, like, it's horrendous to watch. I haven't watched one. I never watched one episode of the Kardashians. I should get a badge for that, by the way. And so,
me too.
But yeah, so I think
I
they're
love
cooked,
the
man.
Oscars. You know, like I used to watch the Oscars all the time because, you know, we would have Oscar parties because we were actors. And this was amazing and everything else. I loved it when Ricky Gervais got up there and just absolutely ripped into them. Why are you laughing? This is really happening. Why are you all laughing? This is disgusting. And he's a goner. Where is he?
You can look at the late night shows as well. You know, it's just like, you know, the one with Jim Carrey coming on. The first thing he's doing, he's got his a little ring, you know, down the, you know, that comes on, does the whole. It's like, oh my God! It's like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's just like because it's like it makes them part of the cool club now. You know, and that's literally what it is.
But I think it's contracted. I don't think it's about like trying to be part of the club. I think they are literally contracted into doing this stuff. And I've like heard, like, when we're not going to keep going too far, thanks, Joe. But I've heard stories on people that are have worked in that industry, not as actors or whatever, but as external contractors that come on in and consult and whatnot. And you know, this is just what you have to do to get up to that top echelon. If you want to get up to that level, then this is what you have to do: sell your soul, do all of this, you know, horrific events and bits and pieces, and then you can get up to that top level. But with that comes that sacrifice of who you are as a person and what you choose to do and what you get to do. Very much like you were talking about skinwalkers, they have to they have to do the ultimate taboo.
The horrendous stuff. Yeah.
And so what they did is that another thing again that they never underestimate the arrogance of these people. The hubris that they have on them is baffling to the mind. The arrogance that these people possess, and I'm not even joking on that. They were celebrating before they had even won, right? And then what they had done is they had greatly underestimated I call it the whiskey tango, the white trash gene that's in some people that we will not be dumped. No, this ain't going down. This ain't happening, right? And so they greatly underestimated that. And then when it came out, and it shows too how fragile their plan was. I mean, we hit it pretty hard to knock it down. I mean, it wasn't like it was a total pushover, and we're still in the fight or whatever. But they thought that this was going to be the new norm, and so they got extremely arrogant, and they wanted to be the first one to let everybody know that, hey, I'm into this. I'm the first one, right? Yeah. And it repulsed Americans, and I'm sure it had the same. It repulsed us, right? Like, I cannot believe that you're doing that, right? And then what happens on top of that led into it was with their I would say second mistake, or a unintentional byproduct of what would happen on it, is that they never thought people would turn them off. It's that simple. Nope, click. That's it. They just turned it off. Now you're irrelevant. And then now I don't want. And you went through. I can't even imagine what they did. I have my ideas, right? Yeah. But I can't imagine what they did to get there, right? What did you have to do or get done to you to get to there?
Yeah.
And you just get turned off, right? And then it just like falls apart, man. And you can see it too, man. It's and whatever they were taking to stay young has been turned off. I'll leave it at that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. We want to keep this on YouTube, but whatever they were using to look like they were 25 when they were 70, it's gone. It's not there anymore. And some of these people, like Ellen DeGeneres, who I think's a dude, by the way. I think that's a dude.
Yeah.
As aging,
there's numerous.
Oh,
hey, do you know the fittest flat earther? Do you know who he is?
Who?
The fittest flat earther is his,
out of Tampa. I don't know him, but I know of him. Yeah.
He's so funny. He goes through like, definitely, dude. Here you go. This person is actually this person, and why wouldn't you get actors to act in different?
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
So, like, conspiracy theories. I find
that's what they do.
So interesting. Yeah. And I mean, like, realistically speaking, we're talking about reptilians in Hollywood.
No, it is.
It's all wrapped in.
That's who's at the top.
Sure. Yeah. It's all.
That's who's making them do it. That's who's making them do it. I'm 100% on that. That's who's making them doing it, right? Hey, Juliet, Lisa, you guys want to be contracts? Yeah. Your name's Jim. You're Larry now. That's it, man.
Bob.
That's it, man. Yeah. We're gonna start giving you hormone injections. Oh, here you go, man. Like, yeah. So that's what I think, right? All ties back together.
And it's interesting because there's actors and actresses that I haven't followed for years before all of this came out, but I've just never ever liked them.
Yeah.
I've just gone, no, I can't watch a single thing that you make. Same as like there's singers out there where they open their mouth and I'm just like, ugh. Change the channel. I do it to I just relax out, but I do it to Beyonce all the time. I can't stand her.
Yeah,
I've never
been
out. Like, I will turn her music off if that comes on TV. I can't stand it. I'll turn the radio down. I've just never ever liked her stuff. Also when she's come by Very Destiny's Child, then but it's just really interesting how you've got that real kind of perception of people. And as for us, we were brought up with actors to kind of idolize them. We were like, oh my God, they're so amazing. And, and then you work within the industry and you're like, you meet them, you're like, yeah.
It's funny you brought that up, man. The other day I was just trying to unwind, right? And I was on somewhere and I pulled up my phone and there was this movie called G.I. Jane, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if are you familiar with that movie?
Yeah.
I used to think Demi Moore was like a smoking hot fox, right? I used to think of that, right?
Us too.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch this, and I had to turn it off. I want you guys. I'm going to do a video on this after the shadow ban clears. There's a scene in there. I want you to turn the closed captions on, right? And there's a scene in there where on day one of her training, right? And it's at nighttime and they're holding up the boats and he's walking back and forth and he's saying that I want to get one on the first day and I'm not going to quit until I get one on the first day, right? And nobody quits and nobody quits and he goes, okay, welcome to day 2, and he walks off. They start singing a song. And without your closed captions on, you won't know what this song is. And the song literally goes like this. I had to play it back twice. It goes, now I've been in the military 9 years, and we sing when we run because it opens up your lungs and it helps you breathe, right? So people don't pass out, right? They're singing a song saying, I found a friend in Satan. Satan is my friend. I try to do things the right way. It was no fun. Now I want to do things my way through Satan. Go watch it. I got it bookmarked now.
No.
That's the song. That is the song they are singing, holding up that boat. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah.
Why do you have to ruin things for me, Joe?
I'm sorry, man.
But that's like, or the, it's like the designer or the singer, whoever it was, who brought out the latest fashion show, and it's basically all about Lucifer. And everyone's going in there going, oh my God, this is so amazing. You're just like, ugh.
And I'm telling you right now, I had to play that back. I said, what did they just say? I turned the closed captions on, and then I was listening. And it's on YouTube for free. You can go get that movie on YouTube, but no ads. Just go to the part right on day one of her training when they just finished and they're holding the boat up. It's at night and they're spraying them down. He wants somebody to quit.
Yeah.
And they start singing that song. And I was in the military 9 years. That is not a song we have ever sang in the military, ever. I challenge anybody watching this, get in my face. We have never sang that song. Go check it out. I'm telling you, I'm doing a video about it. Go check it out.
That's why I stopped my I stopped my daughter watching the Powder Puff Girls, of all things, the little cartoon, because of the stuff that they would talk about. Oh, I need a big strong boy to come save me. I can be slayed by her. Yeah, this is a cartoon from the 80s.
Yeah.
And talking about these little cartoon girls going, oh my God, a big strong man's gonna come and slay me. And I'm just like, what the fuck? No, you ain't watching this. Oh, I need a boy to save me. I need this. He's gonna do this to me and this to me. And I'm just like going, no.
And check this out too. It sucks being awake, man. It really does, man. And I'm sorry I love G.I. Jane, man, for other reasons too. I love G.I. Jane. But there was also something in there that first alerted me that I think this movie is weird. There's a scene. I've actually quoted this guy before in like military situations where he's walking the line and he goes, the moon, the stars, the ebb and flow of the tide, the sun along its ecliptic. These are just a few things I control in my world. He's talking about Satan. And then when they start singing that song, this Master Chief, they're singing the Master Chief. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. Go watch it. It's a 3 minute. It's a 3 minute stretch.
Let's do an episode on TV. Let's do that.
Absolutely. It's a 3 minute. It's a 3 minute stretch. And when he says, "I now turn you over to my command Master Chief, John H. Argeo," and he gives them a speech, and it sounds like he's reading some type of poetry, but he's talking about how the earth is his, how he controls everything in this world. And then at the next scene, I thought to myself, like, man, that was cool. But I'm like, but literally like in the montage is over, they start singing that song. They're singing to Satan about, I found a friend. Go watch. Go check it out. I'm sorry I ruined it for you, but I turned it off. I'm like, man, it's coming out. I tell you
what, this is the hardest thing being in the industry that we're in, right?
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. Goodbye. Can't watch you anymore. You
can't do it.
G.I. Jane. Goodbye, G.I. Jane. Can't watch you anymore. Can I?
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Top 10 movies for me. Both of those were top 10s. I can't watch Forrest Gump, and I like ruined. I was like, what could possibly be popcorn movie? What could possibly be in here? Not even 15 minutes in, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Yeah.
Click it right off.
Check it out. You watch old movies now, you're like, oh, what?
Yep. Absolutely.
But it's the glasses that you put on, right? Like as soon as you change your perspective a little bit and you look at it from that angle, wow, everything shows itself.
Yeah.
And like it's funny because I asked my mum the other day, I was like, Mum, do you think that the moon landing was real, right? She was alive, she was a teenager or, in her 20s when that happened. I said, do you think they actually did land on the moon? And she said, yeah, of course they did. And I said, really? And so I said, who filmed it? Who filmed them coming down? And then who filmed it leaving? And she goes, cameraman. And I said, what happened to the cameraman? And she goes, oh my God. she was like, I can't talk about it, and she just left. And
Hey.
I was like, that's it. When you start kind of breaking it down, because they're in that whole kind of not brainwash necessarily, but they've got that fog on them that we just do what we're told, and this is just what happened, and we don't question that at all. And I agree with your statement, Joe, saying as soon as the boomers go, us that are of our kind of generation are going to come on through and be like, let's
don't give us power. Don't do it. Don't do it. Y'all ain't ready. Don't do it. We'll get this. We'll be cleaned up in a week. Don't do it.
We drink out of the hose outside.
That's it, baby. That's it. That's it. Right. We're bringing that back.
We are going to build forts in our schools. There was literally a thing on the radio the other day. They're like, oh, what old things would you put back into a school? What did you have in your school? We had 3-story fort.
Wooden fort.
With a pole that used to get from the top and slide down, used to jump off of it. You know,
we had massive ropes hanging from the top. So I remember falling off those a couple of times.
The amount of people that fell off of that and broke the bloody arms.
Military training. Military training. It's just a collarbone. You're good. You're good. Pop that back in. Pop that shoulder back in.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We were raised a little bit different than our wee younger ones that
that's it.
are just useless. Like creating this tinfoil hat today. I asked my 17-year-old son, whip me up a tinfoil hat. He nearly had a little crying moment. He was, I can't do it. How do you do this? I was like, just do it.
Figure it out, bro.
Nah.
All right, let's see. Are we gonna go blurry again?
That is. I tell you, it's it. It blurs you out, man. It blurs you out.
Oh my God, Joe.
Here we
go. Normal. You blow our brain cells out our freaking heads. Except mine's still in here because I've got a silver foil hat on. But thank you so much. We love your theories. We love your opinions on things. You really do make us kind of go away and think about stuff and percolate and then kind of decide kind of where to next. And I'm sure everyone that was on this, watching this live stream have just gone away going, oh dear God, I can't watch Forrest Gump anymore.
Can't watch none of that anymore.
Jane's gone.
Yeah.
Every time I watch the awards, it's going to do Illuminati signs.
Exactly. It's all downhill from here.
So much fun, man. So much fun. Thank you so much. Good Sir Joe, do you have any departing words for us?
No, I'm very proud of you guys, man. Again, I'm always, I'm always cheering, right? I'm your fan over there, so I'm always got your back. I never turn out an opportunity to hang out with you guys, you know that, right? So thanks for having me on. It's been great, man. Like I said,
that's awesome. Joe, plug your channel real quick.
All right, you can find me at the Ancient Enigma Files. That's pretty much my channel at all places, at YouTube, Instagram. I think I'm Professor Augustus on TikTok or whatever. So Facebook, all that stuff is I have a link tree in my bio. That's where I'm at, man. At the Ancient Enigma Files.
He's here,
That's it, man. When I'm not catching a shadow band, I'm right here. I just bounce around now.
My skin is real. My skin is real.
Oh my.
Joe, you are the man, and man, we can't wait to see what you have got cooking in the kitchen because I know you're busy as hell and you are doing all sorts of shit in all sorts of different realms. So we will keep our eyes peeled for what is coming.
It is.
Watch what you're doing there, Lisa. you're gonna freak him out.
Oh no. I made an inappropriate joke to wrap it up here. This will give you if you've stuck around this long, here's your inappropriate joke to take away with you. I try to make this symbol our new symbol. It didn't catch on. I don't know why it didn't catch on, but like give it a try here, everybody.
It's like a big part of our safe word.
It's like but YouTube didn't like it. Instagram gave me said it. Well, maybe that's not PG-13. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just thinking, what's that?
I don't know. We're gonna find out if this one gets banned. I think we've all sworn at it a couple of times.
Joe, you are showing your age at that symbol, matey. You are
sorry.
That's a generational symbol.
I'm trying to bring it back, y'all. I'm trying to bring it back. That's what it is.
Oh, good Lord. Oh my God.
Love
Okay,
you,
hey,
mate. So much
spam us with all your
fun.
reptilian stuff. And next week we are talking about go Juliet. Aliens and tapestries.
Oh yeah, alien tapestry. So an artwork.
Oh, good
so
one.
we're going down like the, there's a whole lot of alien stuff and religious stuff, and then kind of ancient stuff. So yeah, it's really, really interesting how there's a lot of like spaceships and all sorts of weird stuff happening in kind of the tapestries and the artwork and stuff. So that is next week. Come join us and we'll discuss aliens.
Amazing. Thank you everyone for joining us on our first official launch to YouTube. Get here next week. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like and set your bells and all that good stuff. Pop on over to the Ancient Enigma Files and go and subscribe to Joe's channel as well and get all of the good stuff that he puts out. Super knowledgeable, really, really interesting takes on all sorts of supernatural stuff. And thank you, good sir. We love you to pieces.
Anytime.
And we will hang out with you again. We know this will happen.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Or we can all end up in jail together.
Exactly right. Yeah.
50-50.
We'll do the
Point
podcast
cost, right?
from jail. It's fine.
But guaranteed never to be boring.
Yeah, that is the one. We will never be boring.
You will never be bored. Trust
We
me.
love you all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Have a
Bye.
good one.